Afternoon, good evening, and good day. And as you can see, we've got a new set that's not been put together yet. We barely got the computer out and microphone together. And let me do a sound check because I don't even know if that's working yet. The camera was like red. Let's see. Yep. All right. So let's get the chat working and make sure that everything has been reconnected correctly. Oh, yeah, there's Bennett. Hello, Bennett. Good to see you. And got a couple articles, but none of them are loaded yet. I've read a handful of them. This whole moving situation is always fun. We're gonna do it again in a couple of days, like 40 of them. Let's see here. That one's gonna be fun. And we'll open this one. Three. Let's get 5 of them going. And it's a good start. All right, we may have some friends pop in on us. We may not. We'll see. I need to open up some slots on here so that some of you guys can join in. So I've got a couple open slots now that we have had some shakeups. Also, tell me how the sound is. We're next to a highway and the window's open because I don't know if I've got enough cable for this to reach. I don't. So what I'll do is I'll show you the app. The air in here is terrible. Let's see. House air. Wait for it to connect. Yeah, our air is 58. Look at that CO2. Yeah, it's not healthy. So we've got the window open. We've got a fan on. But it's going to take some time. It was at, what was it, 54 when we turned it on? Yeah. Air quality is important. We learned this with the new normal. But I guess we already knew that. You sleepy, baby? She's so sleepy. Look at that. Oh, you saying hi? She's just waving hi up to the side. I don't know if you can see it. All right, so let's see. Let's start with this one from Tasmanian. And then we'll go on to the one I said will be fun. Share screen. Tab. There we go. Let's get into Blogger Reacts view. There we go. And let's see. So Giga Berlin has secured the right to independently classify the hazard class of water and avoid red tape, allegedly. All right, so let's see. I say allegedly because even though they got it, doesn't mean that that the Save the Cardboard Forest folks aren't going to sue them for it. If you're not comfortable, you might lean forward. I'm sorry, I have to lean back. The boss demands it. All right, so let's see. State required Tesla to submit analyses to the Odor-Spree County Water Authority, and now they get to do it themselves. Uh-oh. I've got a spinning beach ball. Is it back? Okay, it's back. And is that one live? It says live. Okay. There we go. So that's all I know about that one. Just like I said, this is one of the ones I didn't read. I pulled a bunch of them up to go, and then travel took longer than we thought. Even with the smallest U-Haul trailer they make, not the little flat fiberglass one, but just the small regular box one. And our energy consumption was something like 500 watt hours per mile. Let me open up a new tab and check that for you. So I'm speaking truth and not feelings. Let's go back to day before yesterday. Because yesterday we returned the trailer. And then we got set up pots, bowls, dishes, that sort of thing. Let's see. I also got to tag all those routes as towing. I'll do that later. I'll leave this up so I don't forget. Let me see what day is this? Saturday, so Friday. There we go. It's loading. All right, so on Friday we did 10 drives with 301 miles driven, but 472 rated miles used. Only 63% efficiency. Hello, Zachary. Good to see you. Good to see you as well. And let's see. We were driving for 6 hours and 15 minutes. used 164.05 kilowatt hours. There it is, 544 watt hours per mile. It's not as bad as it could be. I mean, I see people who don't tow that they get that kind of numbers on their Model X, and some even on their Model 3s and Model Ys. The air is getting better now that the window's open. We're at 61. I think what happened is probably the air conditioner kicked in. I feel the cool, and that probably knocked the humidity down a little bit. Oh, it's back to 59 and red again. All right, so let's see. Our longest trip, does it tell us? It does not really. We had 3 supercharges. We only added 93 kilowatt hours. I don't know if you can hear that. Some diesel bro just showing his how well endowed he is, which is not very well, obviously. So there's 3 charges at 93 kilowatt hours, which means that with a 100 kilowatt hour pack to start with, I don't know what it is today because it's been a minute since I queried it. It was something like 90 or 89 kilowatt hours last time I asked it nominal. So we would have spent $12 in fuel in supercharges. Let's see. And we spent 1 hour and 33 minutes charging because where we were going on the route, there were a couple of gaps, and so the car wanted to actually get up to 94% before letting us roll because we might not have made it. And we ended up doing just fine because I was going slower than I could have. Not the 55 that you're supposed to do with a U-Haul trailer, because the smaller one just doesn't require that of us. Let's see. Oh, here. Oh, wow. Thank you, Zachary. Appreciate that. 1999 from Zachary says, thank you for your hard work on behalf of a better future with clean energy generation and transportation. Absolutely. Thank you. I think what we might do is we might look into our solar setup when we get back into the house. That's going to be sometime in April, and we've got like 27 panels. We rolled by the other day, and they're covered in pollen. So we'll see if this next set of rains helps to clean it off, or if we got to pay somebody to get up on the roof and go scrub it off. And then we've got some stuff to do with like the batteries that are running this place right now. We'll hook those batteries into the solar and see what we can do with that. Bennett says, yeah, about that. Supposedly the average endowment has gone up because we've been polluting. I wonder if the endowment has gone up, or the they have said that the effectiveness has gone down compared to our grandfathers and great grandfathers, just because of the pollution. So it'd be interesting if it affects it inversely. That's interesting. Not quite for the show, but it is it is an interesting topic nonetheless. Okay, so 1 hour and 33 minutes spent charging, and it could have been lower if we had. There were a couple. There was one where the car insisted that we go one way, and then it said, "All right, you're not going to make it." It didn't say travel 55 or whatever. It just said you're not going to make it. So I pulled up the map, and instead of going to that other supercharger, we went to the Florence supercharger, and it happened to be a good thing that we were traveling at night because of the superchargers we went to, only 2 of them had a nose-in spot. The first one was like right after we left in North Carolina. That one had a nose-in, and we were blocking the aisle, but there was enough room because like after the superchargers, there was if you went around the trailer, there was a drive-through for an ATM, but that one worked. And then there was the nose-in at the Florence Mall. There's 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 nose-ins at the Florence Mall because of the way that they're set up. But it's a good thing we went after close because we were in the aisle, and I made sure to come in and turn, which kept more of us out of the aisle. But there was a policeman just kind of ending his shift, it looked like, and then a couple people who were either waiting on their people in the mall to finish working, or I guess they moved their car up at close, and they worked themselves and were leaving. So we weren't in the way there. There was a Model X and a Model 3 supercharging. That was fun. There's the pearl white Model X. He had the 22s. So even with the trailer, we were probably matching him for fuel efficiency. And then we got to the Charleston, South Carolina supercharger, and I may have a picture of that. Let me see if I can do this. I mean, I do have a picture, but let me see if I can. I do it. I do it. I can do it without the phone. I was gonna put it in the phone app, but what I can do is this. I can go to my photos. One of my photos in the cloud. One of them. I guess we'll do Google, and better. I think. Let's do this one. So we'll share this tab instead. And it went blank. I shared it, it goes blank. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So we committed a couple of faux pas. One, we're already blocking a bunch of spaces with a trailer. Uh, two, I did something you're not supposed to do, which is I pulled the opposite side supercharger cable through the back. Some stations they have such a problem with this, they actually plexiglass or Lexan or something so that you can't reach through and pull the cable through like that. You're supposed to do is use the one on your side. So this is the one I should have been using. But if I did that, I would have had to come forward some more, which meant I would have been blocking probably about two more supercharger stalls. And then I had wanted to actually be on the side of the aisle where I'm standing to take the photo. Like, so you would like if I took this photo, the car would have flipped the other way around. But there was a fossil car just parked there randomly. Like it was in the space opposing these trailer lights right here. So on this side, and I don't know if you can see that. I'm standing in front of it. All right, so at this stall where the end of the trailer is by the camera, I just kind of cut him out with my photo skills, and because he was there, I wouldn't have been able to pull up far enough not to block the entire supercharger on that side, nor if I tried, would I be able to get back out? Because then somebody would have tried to use that last stall behind us, and it would have been a mess. There were about 4 or 5 sessions that came through while we were doing this little top off. In fact, the space on the opposite side of this one, we had a Model 3 show up, had 2 Model S's, and another Model 3. That one was fun as well. And this one's a V3 station, as you can tell by the D and the C. So it wasn't a very long session even for us. That very first V2 stop it had us do, we were already at 70%. And I know I'm jumping around, I'm sorry. That V2 stop, it only gave us about 70 kilowatts. But that makes sense because we were at 70% charge. And then we, waited until the car said we had enough to go. But then when we got to Florence, I don't know if I picked a bad station or normally what I would do if I was plugged in and under 50%. In this case, we were at 20%. If I plug in and we're under 50% and I get less than 100 kilowatts, what I'll do is I'll unplug and move. However, with the trailer, I wasn't interested in remaneuvering and dealing with that. So we just let it sit, and we caught up on tweets and baby playtime. She's out now. Look at that. Out cold. But anyway, we got caught up on baby playtime and tweets and emails, and so I just let it roll. And it was under 70 until the rain started. And then as the rain started, it crept up to about 76. Let's go back to Testify again and see how exactly it did there. There's Testify. Gonna go to our calendar. Oh, wow. I clicked on the software link. There's nothing new for us FSD beta folks. All right, let's go to the let's click the logo. There we go, index, and then go back to Friday. There we go. And we go to Florence Supercharger. So that first one was in Greensboro. And we did oh, that was getting the trailer. I'm like, what kind of stop was that? right, there we go. There's the first supercharger. It was at Archdale, South Carolina, North Carolina, sorry. And we were there for 32 minutes. Efficiency was 99.2, added 21 kilowatt hours. There's amps and voltage, but not kilowatts. So I'd have to figure that myself, wouldn't I? Ugh. No, I don't. I can click on it and it'll give me a graph. There we go. Share this tab instead. Voltage current. Current is what I want. So that one actually started out all right. But that current is probably amps. Battery kilowatts. Yeah, it was under 100 kilowatts. So that's what I was saying. Charger kilowatts. They should match, and they do. Yeah, so that was no fun. All right, so let's go back to. Actually, I can leave that and open another one. Go to Florence. That one is in Somerton. Somerton was after Florence, isn't it? Yes, it was. There we go, Supercharger Florence. Share this tab instead. What? Oh, okay, I see what happened. I did it in the window I was sharing with you guys? No, I see what happened. You use the window again. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, so you can see the Florence Mall supercharger is right here in the middle. And it had some serious problem with icing when they first came out with it, but they've been getting better. And you can see here, started out pretty good. Oh yeah, there's kilowatts. We started out pretty good, 143, and then within 1 minute, we were at 69 kilowatt. So that's why I'm thinking that the handle was hot when I unplugged it. So I'm thinking that that's why it slowed down so much. Not that we were high in the charge by any means. See that battery charge level 21. But boom, within a minute it dropped down. And then we stayed there for a good minute. Let's see. I got to 79 before we said, all right, that's enough to make it to Somerton. Because it had dropped down to 48 by that point. So that was an adventure. And then we got to Charleston. Let's do Charleston. So I'm leaving you guys there. I'll go to the Charleston supercharge probably the next day because it was late. We're no strangers to driving at night. I think it's easier with this kind of trailer that you can't disconnect. It says the North Face outlet. That's not quite the name of the supercharger. It's at the Mellow Mushroom. Here we go. Yeah, it just recycles the window. So the supercharger is here. It's this block right there. And then this is the Mellow Mushroom. And they've got a lot of construction going on right now. And then that Stanger outlet's there. So this one we did much better to start with. We started out at 155 kilowatts. Got 162, 168. So 168 was our high. And then I think I unplugged when it got down below 80. 180, 75, 69, 65. Yeah, so once it slowed down, I was out of there. Plus it was late. Let's see. Bennett says, oh yeah, we talked about that. They moved the jet on me, like as I was in the windows, they dropped it down. All right, so let's get back to the stories rather than story time. Page not found. It's no fun. We noticed you're visiting from the US. I've updated our prices to reflect the US dollar for your shopping convenience. Use the Canadian dollar instead. So Drive Tesla Canada is noticing I'm not in Canada. How nice of them. All right, so they were talking about the new Tesla radar, and that article is missing for some reason, so we'll skip it. But that's not the one I said would be fun anyway. So let's go to that one, and I can share this tab instead, and we can close the Teslafy for now. I bet you we'll be back in there for something else. So they are asking. They said, "Is this the Tesla Model Next in China or something else?" And who really knows? But look at this. You look at this, and you take a quick glance. You're like, "Oh, that's a Tesla in zebra camo." Except that several things. Tesla never used this camo, and then when we get a little bit closer, we see yes, these are indeed Tesla elements. But let's dig in a little bit. So I want to know what you guys think about this. So we've got a exterior light on the upper mounted spoiler or wing, which I don't want to say that Tesla doesn't do that because my Model X has the light in the spoiler, as did the I guess all Tesla Model X's do, but as did the early Model X with the deployable active spoiler, they called it the active spoiler. But then you see a couple things that Tesla doesn't really do the way that they show here. The way these reflectors are done, as I said, this spoiler light is not really the way they do it. It's on the Model Y and 3 and the Model S. It's in the glass. Let me see a couple other things that don't really add up. Let's just make these pictures bigger. We can see a cutout for an exhaust right here. We can see a fuel filler door right here. You wouldn't need a fuel filler door if you've got a CCS or NACS plug in here. Even if it was a China car, this was seen in China, but the China cars, the early Model S and X did have a fuel filler door type opening in their body. But that hasn't been necessary with the new charge port doors because what they do is they put the European plug in one spot and they put the Chinese plug in another. They kind of put them at a diagonal to each other so they both fit under that cover. That's why the cover is so large. So you wouldn't need this. And again, you wouldn't need a cutout for an exhaust because Tesla has never made a combustion car. Scratch. The prototype smart cars. They took the Tesla took the Mexican market smart, and they dropped the powertrain and put in the Tesla powertrain into that. So that one might have had a cutout for an exhaust, but it's been over 20 years since Tesla did that, so they haven't had to do that in a while. The next thing we notice is that these handles here are not flush. Tesla seems to not like door handles. I don't even think the original Roadster had door handles like this. The S has them, but they pop out, and the 3 and the Y, they're really just kind of levers. They're not really handles at all. And then the X and the Cybertruck don't have handles. The X has these button poppers, but the Cybertruck appears to either have cameras or button poppers like the Mach-E. So that's wrong. These are very clearly Gemini wheels, and these are indeed Tesla Model 3 or Model Y taillights here. Let's go to the next picture. The other weird thing here is that we can see that this is it appears to be a framed door, not frameless. Tesla doesn't do framed doors lately. I don't know what we're going to see with the Cybertruck, but we'll see. I don't think that one was framed either. We can go look at the prototype and see. But yeah, we can see this is a framed window all the way through. This is a Tesla Model 3 or Model Y headlight. And it looks like their plate carrier. And this is their indicator light. This is their side camera. I don't know that we can see in the hood there, or in the window there. This looks like a Tesla front hood. It does look like it. Doesn't mean that it is. Even the grill, the radiator inlet is the same style that you'll see on the 3 and the Y. So what's going on here? Let's look at these mirrors. These mirrors don't look right, do they? No, they do not. So look at another picture. What we got? Oh yeah, that's the same picture because the way that Drive Tesla does their media scroller. So let's look at this wheel real quick. All right, so in here we can see it's got a red Tesla Performance brake caliper cover. I say cover, could be the actual units and not covers. And that looks like the bed of the tow truck there. There's a lot going on in here that you wouldn't see on a Tesla because they cover the insides of their wheel wells up. But I'm thinking that trim section there might be them. Let's go back to the other picture here. It's actually bigger here. That looks like a tire that Tesla uses. It looks a little thick for a Tesla plastic arch. And I don't believe that they do this on anything but the Model X. So folks went ahead and they said, all right, let's look at all the different cars this could be. So let's look at the Mazda CX-30. And so you got the Mazda CX-30. They said, let's see what's all the same with the CX-30. And so they matched up the angles, and you got the exhaust cutout, you got the reflectors, the high mount stoplight, you get the windows, including the chrome, because Tesla doesn't really do chrome anymore. You got the fuel filler door, you got the door handle. But this isn't just like a hoax picture. It wasn't like a one-off. They had this thing out, driving it around, and here it is. Spy shot it. They were trying to figure out what this is, but to me, I want to say this is a Genesis or Hyundai or Kia, although I don't know why they would have a Mazda and make it look like a Tesla. What do you guys think? I do think that it is possible that Mazda could be trying to hide what they're doing and make it look like a Tesla that way. That would be clever. However, why would you hide an existing car, the CX-30, as we saw them line it up exactly like the current CX-30? And why would you need to? Because if it's something under the skin of CX-30, you just run it, make it look bone stock, and nobody would ever know. These are clips from the video of it driving around in China there. I think that's the first picture. Yep. So I think it's a really clever way to do camouflage, but I don't know what's going on here. I've never seen anything like this before. I've seen like fake body lines under some like padding, and then they wrap that, or they put it under like the leather bag, where they put the whole car in that car bra material. But this was interesting to me, and I thought it was interesting enough to share, and I want to know what you guys think. So let's see. This should be Hello, or whatever that is. Oh, that's the brand. Okay, so that's the Chinese model name. Previously discussed Range Rover ripoff. Let's take a look. It's going to use the same window or a different one? Same window. It could be that, but the back just looks too much like a Hyundai or Genesis to me. Let's see if they got a picture of the back of this thing. It could be that. It certainly could be that. Still looks more like a Hyundai to me. All right, let's go back to that discussion there. Looks like a Hyundai or Genesis large SUV. Yeah, I don't know if they're on sale there because they're Korean. And yeah, like I said, it's really clever to use someone else's signature features like the autopilot cameras and things like that to hide it. Let's see. Our signal's still doing pretty well. I like this. We're completely on site right now. This hotel, they have an Ethernet jack in the wall, but I didn't get anything from it. And there's a little poster card that says, "Hey, you can pick a plan of Wi-Fi." And I'm like, yeah, why would I pay for Wi-Fi? Not when I've got my own connection. All right, so we got some spy shots of the FSD Beta 11.3 release notes. Now, it's looking like any day now we'll start to see the logjam breakup. It's been 74 days since the last update, apparently. Is that right? It's been over a year since 10.1 came out. So let's see. We're not too far ahead at 10.69, which really would have been 10.3 or 10.4 if Elon wasn't obsessed with numbers. So let's see. Enabled FSD Beta on the highway. replaces the legacy highway stack, which is over 4 years old. The legacy highway stack still relies on several single camera and single frame networks and was set up to handle simple lane specific maneuvers. FST Beta's multi camera video networks and next gen planner that allows for more complex agent interactions with less reliance on lanes makes way for adding intelligent behaviors, smoother control, and better decision making. Now that I'm back here in South Carolina, I've noticed something that I notice occasionally in North Carolina, where if you're on a road without lane markings and it's not super wide, and the seam in the road isn't obvious, like it's like right there on the crown, the car wants to use the whole road, and it will move over if it sees people. But you're coming down a dark road and somebody sees headlights coming at them in the middle of the road, they just get annoyed. They don't know that you're going to move over. Out of the amount of time that the car actually takes before it actually moves over. All right, so next, added voice drive notes. After an intervention, you can send Tesla an anonymous voice message describing your experience to help improve autopilot. I think this is a better experience than before, where we were just hitting the camera and hoping that Tesla could figure out what was going on and why. And I think that might have been why they removed the camera icon snapshot. It looked like a little video camera. The snapshot button was ambiguous. So if I didn't like something the car did, I slam on the brakes, I adjust it, I hit the thing. Or I steer the car and I slam on the lightning pedal and I hit the thing. So does the car know what happened? Am I just saying, hey, this is something you should pay attention to? Did you do something wrong? What did you do wrong? So now if I take over for any reason, if I push the brakes and adjust, or if I steer out of whatever it's doing and adjust, the car will pop up a little message saying, why did you do that? And I'll say, hey, you almost hit a cat. It happened to me last night. Seriously, there was a gray cat fighting a spotted cat, and my car was doing its thing, and I'd already slowed down the speed because it was too fast for conditions, and I saw it wasn't stopping, so I hit the brake, and it regened a little bit, and it wasn't enough for me, so I pushed the brake, and it aggressively stopped. And the cat, like, he was so busy with the other cat, he didn't even see me. He turns around. I assume he turned around, saw me, looks in the eye of the headlights, and he jumps and scurries off with that stupid cat run they do because their hips aren't set up for it. So he's bouncing along back to the curb where he was when I first encountered him. And so for there, they say, why'd you stop? I'd say, hey, you almost hit a cat. And other times I could say, hey, you're turning into the oncoming traffic, or I didn't feel comfortable that you were going to stop for the oncoming traffic, making this right-hand turn into traffic, or worse, left-hand turn on across traffic. Whatever reason that you are correcting the system, I think that is going to help. I don't know if they'll be listening to them or not, but I don't know. The car is still uploading a lot of data even today. It uploads more than Green the Only says it's got storage for, which I don't know if it's using my dash cam for that, or if it's decompressing stuff and sending it over the net, which seems stupid unless their processing time costs them more than their bandwidth, because obviously my bandwidth is free to them once they're on my Wi-Fi. But you would think that they would get the data faster, and it would cost them less in data if they leave it compressed. So I don't know where the extra space is coming from, unless it's counting like retransmits or something. So yeah, having voice notes, they can already do text to speech, and they do a pretty good job when they actually hear you. So they do the text to speech, and they can then feed that into the auto labeler with whatever happened. Maybe have a human review it, maybe not, and then should allow them to improve even faster now that they've got context to why you took over. Because sometimes I took over because, hey, I suddenly was hungry, or maybe I wanted to go to a place that was on the way to where it was already going. but I already knew it had trouble with that particular parking lot and maneuver. So as we're going past, say, dropping some dry cleaning or whatever, I might just stop and then manually drive into the parking lot and then pick it back up. So that would be something I could say too. There's nothing wrong. I just felt like driving, or I saw a sale, and I don't stop for sales like that. But it could be like some food I wanted or something, or hey, you didn't seem to be paying attention to the policeman or the cones or whoever's directing traffic. So I've got it. So being able to tell them that, I think, is going to be awesome. All right, so extended automatic emergency braking to handle vehicles that cross Ego's path. Remember, Ego is the representation of the car on the screen. So well, the ego is the concept of self for the car, but it shows itself to us on the screen as the mannequin of the car. So anyway, where were we? Cross the ego's path, uh, stealing the right of way. And yes, that's exactly what it is. He stole the right of way. Because remember, the car is, other than the complaints that Nitsa had last week, the car is obeying the laws of traffic. And when it's my turn, I'm going to go. And sometimes that's not the safest answer, as we saw with a thread I was on Twitter with Green the Only. He snagged a video of a Tesla that accelerated for the red light. He was doing like almost 60 on a residential street that didn't appear to be designed to do 50 or 60 like that. And the light turned yellow. So he pops it up another 10 miles an hour. So he's doing 70 uh, towards its yellow light. This minivan is turning left on yellow and then just goes. And now this careening Tesla tags it. So yes, it's possible that the minivan had the right of way, but he didn't actually, because there was a car there. And you can see, because Green does this whole thing with, why am I telling you about it? Let's just look at it. Let's go to Twitter. CG. Yep, Green the Only. Right. Share this tab instead. See that right here. So let's make this bigger. So you can see right there's acceleration, braking, or at least regen. So at least took his foot off the pedal if he didn't push the brake real hard. Okay, so it says brake no, brake yes. So he did press the brake hard, but not hard enough. And then it taps him into the pole. So the argument was that the guy couldn't see the Tesla speeding up down here. That's not that far. Uh, if this is a Model S or Model X, it's very unlikely they did that stupid mod where they put wrap over the daytime running lights. So unless they turned off the daytime running lights, a couple seconds of actually looking would have made it clear that there was somebody going at extra legal speed. Like he does clear the motorcycle there. In fact, we can see the street name. I wonder what the speed limit is here. Laurel Drive and Sunshine Terrace. Let's look this up. Share this tab instead. We're going on an adventure. All right, it looks like some Sunshine Parkway. Let's change this. Let's use Google Maps. And to do that, I need to zoom in a little bit because my Google is leaky. Lawrence Avenue. And this isn't even in Florida. That's in California. don't really intersect, do they? Because they don't intersect because they're opposing roads. Laurel Creek Drive. I might not even be the right street anyway. Let's go back to Twitter real quick. Laurel TER Drive, Laurel Terrace Drive, and Sunshine Terrace. So yeah, that's not even right. R. Search again. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's share this chat instead. Thanks for nothing, Bing. But Google didn't know any better. Google found me an apartment because I was missing that extra part of the name there. So Sunshine Terrace and Laurel Terrace Drive. Let's look at the street view. Yeah, it's the same place. All right, so I'm not seeing that this is a road that you should be doing 60 on. In fact, there's a speed limit sign. Let's go check it out. Ah, 35. You done messed up, Aaron. All right, let's go back. Yeah, so same one. And in fact, we can see that the street sign is going to be right there if it hadn't been removed. All right, so a guy doing double the speed limit might be harder to see if you're in a haze. And again, as long as he didn't have that mod on the Model 3 and Y where people covered the daytime lights, or on the S and X where he turned off the daytime lights, he would be visible if you took a moment to make sure that it was actually safe to get by. So they both did bad, but he's at 66 and braking. 71 is his max. And he started the video at almost 60. He started the video at 58. By the time we get a picture, he's at almost 60. He sees the light. He picks up. He can see the van already. So if you can see the van and you're going extra legal, as long as you're doing like 3 times the speed limit, this guy can see you, whether he processes it. Like the whole other argument is you look, you see a car, but it's so far back, you've got time, right? If I see a car, I'm going to make sure it's not going too daggum fast, personally. Mainly because I am used to fools doing some stuff like that. I don't even know how we got on the subject, but we were talking about that. Oh, yeah. We were on the notes, and we were talking about objects crossing the ego. Stealing the right of way. So let's see. They both should have stayed put at that yellow light. It was stale yellow. All right. So replay of previous collisions of this type suggests that 49% of events would be mitigated by the new behavior. This improvement is now active in both manual driving and in autopilot operation. So this is automatic emergency braking. I hope they've tuned this right. Because if you're in that Tesla that was hitting that van or getting hit by that van, and where did we say that was? In California. So you got some boy racer following you. You know what's funny? I guess it's not that funny because it's California. The vehicle in front of the Google car is what appears to be a Model X. Could be a Model Y. Let's zoom in. It's an X. It's clearly an X because it's got a wing. And I drive one of these daily, so that's why I recognize it from way out there. All right, back to the notes before I get too off topic here. Improved autopilot reaction time to red light runners and stop sign runners. So it may have even helped in this case by 500 milliseconds by increased reliance on objects' instantaneous kinematics along with trajectory estimates. So they're going to extrapolate what's going on with the car. I see you're moving at 60 miles an hour in a 50, and or 35 in this case, and I see that your wheels are turned. So in this amount of times I've seen it, the driver goes, and this amount of times I've seen it, the driver stops. This amount of other times, the driver does, that never change what you're doing. When you change what you're doing, after you've already committed, that's where the most crashes happen. So they stop halfway in the lane, and that amount of times, and so the computer will have seen this and built it into the neural net. Added a long-range highway lanes network to enable earlier response to block lanes and high curvature. That's something I've noticed on the current version of both Navigate on Autopilot and uh, FSD, because I can be coming up on a lane with. I don't know why this happened so much on Friday. Friday there were like 4 cars. One was stopped with the flashers on in the lane, and 2 were going under 20 miles an hour. Well, they were going faster than 20 miles an hour. They were over a 20 mile an hour differential from the speed limit. And then there was another one that had the flashers on. I don't know if he was stopped or going super slow. Each time the car wanted to change lanes at a time, it also wanted to slow down. Not as fast as I would have done it. So being able to have it look out some more is nice. And in fact, most of the time I found that I was hitting the turn signal to move it, and the car was starting to slow down because it realized we were approaching an object that wasn't doing what it should have been doing. And in both cases, allegedly, it didn't have the radar. Although, as Green and others showed us, that my radar still has power and it's still doing stuff. It just might not be contributing to the decision making. So we've got a note in the stream chat. All right, let's see. Next thing they did was they reduced the goal pose position error for candidate trajectory neural network by 40% and reduced the runtime by 3 times. I don't know what they're saying here. The pose prediction. I'm wondering if that is the way it sees other objects in the world, and it sometimes gets them wrong. Oh yeah, Lee's got the snowflake. Battery baby. He's got a full battery. Go back to sleep though. And let's see. Improved occupancy detections by oversampling over 180,000 challenging videos, including rain, reflections, road debris, and high curvature. That's nice. The car already sees really well in the rain, but anything better would be nice. And maybe it'll stop freaking out with the slightest drop of. Well, see, it's not even the rain that does it. A slight amount of rain will make the wipers go crazy, and once the wipers get above a certain speed, it doesn't want to drive itself, even if the visibility is fine. Added lane guidance module and perceptual loss to the road edges and lines network, improving absolute recall of lines by 6% and the absolute recall of road edges by 7%. Oh, that'll be nice. Maybe that'll help in those cases where the car wants to just swing wildly when lanes get bad. Either quality of the edges or the paint just faded out of cheapness. We'll get to this. This is a picture of the Magic Dock. The handling of high speed and high curvature scenarios by offsetting towards inner lane lines. That's nice, because right now the car just kind of does whatever when it's turning, and having it hug the inside of the turn will mean that it can go faster with more control. Lane changes, including earlier detection and handling for simultaneous lane changes. Oh, that's nice. I'm guessing that's like a double lane change, like you got to get over, you got to get over again. Or simultaneous lane changes, then you're changing lanes, and so is the guy in front of you, but he won't be in your way. You're just both changing over, and it doesn't handle that very well right now. I mean, it does. It's just not smooth. better gap selection when approaching deadlines. Good, good. Hopefully, they've also fixed the thing where it wants to be in the wrong lane for the turn coming up at the last minute. Better integration between speed-based and nav-based lane changes. Okay, good. More differentiation between the FSE driving profiles with respect to speed changes. Okay. I also hope that they can get rid of some of the tailgating because that thing rides too close for a lot of conditions. Improved longitudinal control response smoothness when following elite vehicles by better modeling possible effect of elite vehicles' brake lights on the future speed profiles. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at right there. You're riding the tail of a car, and it's riding somebody else, so you should give it more room because these fools will just slam on the brakes at the last second rather than if you were following at a reasonable distance, they can do whatever the heck they want, and it won't affect you unless they come to complete sudden stop, like they hit the person in front of them. Let's see. Improved detection rate of rare objects by 18%. Good. Yep. And let's see. So, reduce the depth error in large trucks by 9%. I've got a photo coming up if the article didn't go away about large trucks, primarily from migrating to more densely supervised auto-label data sets. Improved semantic detections for school buses by 12%. So Mr. O'Dowd was lying about how the car handles school buses. School buses aren't advertised to be handled at all. So now it does a little bit better with them. And vehicles transitioning from stationary to driving by 15%. This happens a lot more than you'd expect. Like, car just suddenly starts to move and takes your car by surprise. Like, it's just been sitting around, and all of a sudden it's not anymore. Another. That one sounded like a Dodge of some sort. Let me goose the engine. You can hear how down I am. Speaking of Dodge, we got an article coming up on that. Ooh, and their noise. All right, so improved decision making at crosswalks by leveraging neural networks based on ego trajectory estimation in place of approximated kinematic models. This has been not really a problem for me. It will dip in speed near empty crosswalks, but usually it doesn't stop for people who aren't crossing. Usually, sometimes it's wrong, and the person just looks at me like, "What are you stopping for?" I wasn't even going across the street. But apparently, other people, I guess it would depend on the structure of the crosswalk, and they're different all over the place. Other people have huge problems with the car and the crosswalk, so good to see them taking that on. Let's see, improved reliability and smoothness of merge control, depreciating legacy merge region tasks in favor of merge topologies derived from vector lanes. That's good because this thing sucks at merge. I mean, it does it, but man, is it scary. And then the other thing it does is it'll wait till the very end of the lane where all the trash is piled up because nobody gets that far. It's like you know how expensive tires are? Do you know how expensive tires are from Tesla? Because you don't have to buy it from them. They've got some decent tires, but they get them cheaper at Tire Rack or wherever else. Unlocked longer fleet telemetry clips by 26%, balancing compressed IPC buffers and optimized write schedules across twin SoCs. So that's like Green was telling us that the two identical chips are not running in parallel anymore, and this just further uses the available compute power. All right, so let's see here. The new visualizations. Yeah, this was something that came up. They've got new visualizations, including new traffic lights, a different color scheme for road edges. Interesting. Yeah, I see they're not all red and yellow right now. And a high level view when crossing intersections. Okay, that's good. Because it's on the S and the X and maybe the Cybertruck, you can't change the view of what the car is showing you in respect to what it can see and what the ego's looking at what it thinks of itself. So having it just show more at an intersection without you touching it or to being unable to touch it is nice. There are likely more visualizations we haven't seen yet, so stay tuned for more details. Switch FSD profiles. Tilting the right scroll wheel left or right will now adjust the FSD profile from chill to average to assertive. So what about us legacy folks that don't have a tilting scroll wheel? We have to do the screen, or will it be a shortcut for us? You know what though? We've got an interface for that. We just hold down the right scroll wheel long enough, and it lets us change what the right scroll wheel does. So right now I've got it set to the temperature, but I used to have it set to the like redial on the phone, but I don't talk on the phone that much anymore. So we could just add a line for FSD, and then we can scroll through how assertive it is. I've got some photos here we'll be going through later. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. The Nissan Ariya sees massive price cut of almost $9,000 in China. This comes shortly after Toyota cut the prices of the BZ4X by almost $4,500 in the world's largest EV market. There's not much more to say about that. Like I said, I don't imagine too many folks in China are watching this because of the Great Firewall. But good for them. So there's my photo. Close that. There's Green's crash. And there's that street. Well, not Green's crash. The crash on the equipment that Green has obtained. That one. This one. And then that one. Oh yeah, this will be fun. Yeah. Okay, so then we'll pause there. Wow, the air quality has improved substantially. We're now in the yellow at 73. Let's see. I feel better. My headache's gone. All right, so now what's messing us up is the humidity is at 65%. The CO2 is down to 1239. The volatile organic compounds are down to 680. And the 2.5 particulate is down to 10 microns. Or sorry, yeah. Oh. The temperature is not bad, 73. And then the number in the yellow is 73. White on yellow is not a good either interface. So anyway, single tone paint may reduce the VW ID Buzz delivery time by a year. How long does it take you to paint the car 2 colors? You tape off one side, you tape off the other. A robot can do it. Let's see. If you place an order today for a fully loaded ID Buzz with dual tone paint, you'll have to wait another 18 months for delivery, or up to 18 months. I don't think it looks bad in single color. The two-tone was nostalgic and cute, but I would be fine getting it in one color like this: black, white, silver, red, blue. That would work for me. I mean, that doesn't look terrible. That looks like a gimmick. Let's see. That's all I have to say about them. What's up, Lee? Good to see you. What do you guys think about the colors on the Volkswagen there? Would you, if you wanted one, would you get it in single color to get it faster? I mean, because you could always wrap it in 2 colors. Yes, and highly. I don't know. This doesn't look bad to me in a single color, and I can't wait to see what the American model looks like. Especially after we saw the Mercedes Sprinter EV for the American market. That was a surprise to see it come in with enough range compared to what they're doing in Europe with it, where it has not enough range for this market. New Jersey is now going to require all electric car sales by 2035. remember that New Jersey is one of the California emission states, so it was only a matter of time. Although Virginia is going the other way. They're trying to not just not allow electric car sales by 2035. They're trying to undo their California emissions, but that's just their new Republican governor. We'll see what happens the next time around because it won't be him because their way their politics is set up, you can't be governor twice in a row. So we'll see what happens. I think that right now they are still on the 2035 plan. I'm not sure, but they're definitely a California emission state as of last year. So congrats to New Jersey for electrifying all the things. This one here, the world's largest battery recycler is opening their first U.S. lithium-ion recycling factory. Always good because, as JB Strobel and Elon say, it's a lot easier to mine existing batteries than it is to go and get virgin materials. So this is EcoBat. We wish them well. Hyundai has announced pricing for the Ioniq 6. This one actually has some really awesome aerodynamics. So even though it's got a small battery like the Model 3, it's got some pretty impressive range. Let's see if they say what it is in the article. I forget already. 18-inch wheels, 149 horsepower rear motor, rear wheel drive. There's 240 miles with their small pack, and then they have a larger pack that gets it over 300 miles on a charge, I believe. Yeah, it's only 53 kilowatt hour pack. So that's like a Model 3 standard range, or even what was the standard range, the SR. Smooth aerodynamic design. So it shares a platform with the Ioniq 5. But the Ioniq 5 is more of a squared off SUV style. It's a really large or small crossover. And let's see, it starts at 41. That's pretty good. Sedan is spec'd up to 56. With the dual motor all-wheel drive long range, Hyundai notes that all vehicles come with a 1115 delivery fee. Also, because of where they're built, they don't qualify for the tax credit. So let's see. The SE rear-wheel drive long range, if they just make these with 225 horsepower rear motor, they will sell every one they make. 361 miles, 45.5. SE long range all-wheel drive actually cuts your miles to 316. I guess that's the extra weight. 5. Yeah, because it's all the same wheels. And then your limited all-wheel drive with the 20s takes you down to 270. Brings your price all the way up to 56. So it's still got the 800-volt architecture. Not bad. So we've seen with that 800-volt architecture, those Hyundais can charge pretty quick. Unclear if the pricing is aggressive enough to increase to the increasingly competitive market. That's a good question. It's not assembled in North America, so it doesn't qualify for the EV incentive of $7,500. But it's got a low price comparatively. So it's 10,000 cheaper than the average used Tesla, but not the new Model 3s. We'll talk about that later in the show. Further looking at the market overall, Ioniq 6 falls substantially below the average EV MSRP of $60,000. Perhaps the most price competitive spec of the Ioniq 6 is the highest range trim, coming in at 45.5 for 225. 225 horsepower, fed by a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery, 361 miles while retaining a sporty feel, respectable 0 to 60. It doesn't need to be fast, but you don't want to be slow either. Let's see, this part looks like the Ioniq 5, maybe a little less brutalist. And I gotta go back and forth. I'm not going back and forth. And that back seat just looks comfortable. Look at that. Get a little charging station there. Get a great seating position, like you don't feel like you're on board. It's not a bad looking car. It's not really my style. I like the Ioniq 5, but the Ioniq 6 doesn't look the same way to me. Let's see what people say about this thing. Doesn't qualify for the incentive. Yeah, it was in the article, buddy. 3 things against this car. It's got a droopy bump. It's still got a very underpowered and lower trims. Yeah, but like even the lower trims compared to where they used to be. Dawood, it says you're on stream. There you are.
Hey, good morning. I don't have the best internet connection, so we'll see how it goes.
I'm on cellular. So,
Me
what
too.
do cool. So, what do you think about the single tone color on the ID Buzz, the Volkswagen van? Lisa say, or Bennett says, sorry.
I didn't see that. I jumped in right when you, hey Bennett, jumped in right when you were talking about the back seats of the Honda,
Ionic 5,
the
6. Yeah, tell me
Hyundai.
about that. What do you think about this Ionic 6? Good price,
They
especially for
do
somebody
look
avoiding Tesla. That's
comfortable,
true.
and I don't know about I don't know too much about it, but those back seats look very very spacious.
Yes, yeah, I was noticing that, especially for a
And
car
I
with a roof
need a
line like
back seat that's
this.
spacious. Right. So are they going to be going for full self-driving of some sort? Because that's when I'll need a back seat that comfortable. Because I would just jump in the back and watch a
They
movie again on my
they
phone.
they could with this body, but they're not uh, pursuing that with this unit that they're selling. I don't believe that's something that they're selling right now. They might have lane keep. That's something else I've noticed. That all the
You can't
Hyundais
fit in the
have
back seat with lanky.
maybe just so if you have really tall kids, or if you drive Uber.
That is
I noticed that they all have the right rear uh, charge port door on the Hyundais, which is interesting to me. All right, so let's see. We don't need the latest GM news in our inbox. So the electric Cadillac crossover above the Lyric has been spotted testing. Meanwhile, we still have friends that are in line for the Lyric, still waiting. It's been on sale for months now.
they haven't delivered lyrics yet.
They've delivered a bunch of them, but not to our friends who were in line early.
Okay. All right.
One of them's even
Well,
a Ford ambassador, which might be why. Oh, we see he's all up on Ford. He doesn't need this right away. I mean, this isn't a bad looking car.
right.
I mean, I'm curious what it looks like without the zebra, but
You mean with the with the zebra print?
yeah.
I'm sure some
Oh,
people into zebra print.
did you see that Mazda in zebra print with the Tesla features? What did you think of that?
I haven't seen anything.
Oh, it's okay. So
I just
there's a
I
Mazda
haven't watched
MX-30,
it
and it
yet.
had Tesla headlights, Tesla side cameras, Tesla Gemini wheels, and Tesla taillights, and it was wrapped in zebra print, and it was seen going around with
But
what. Hmm?
Mazda actually built this, or was it customized? Did
We
Mazda
don't
actually
know. It was
build
in
this, or was
China.
it customized by someone?
We don't know.
Okay.
It still had the cutout for the exhaust, but the exhaust wasn't obvious in the pic. Oh, he's gone. He'll be back hopefully. So Subway builds an EV charging oasis so you can recharge while you eat fresh. Welcome back.
I'm back. Yay.
Yeah, so we're not sure if it was a hoax or if Mazda was trying to throw us off their trail or somebody else was.
Hmm.
But all the body lines matched with the exact current Mazda MX-30, so we were confused. Why?
If you can't be a good one, just take them.
Hey, anything over 100 miles would
That's
be nice
funny
for
that
them.
Chevy's taking a while to deliver.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean they were leading.
Chevy's
They
taking
they
a while
they
to
had
deliver
passed
their
Nissan.
lyrics.
Yeah. All right, let's see. I've got some cool stuff here. Let's talk about charging real quick. I'm going out of order if you're looking at the notes at all. What is this? This is the Magic Dock. Magic Dock up close. So Kyle Connor, his dad David Connor, and his wife, they were out. Not Kyle's wife, but his mom. we're out traveling, and they found a bunch of these matchstocks in I'm guessing in New York, but there's a couple in California as well. They've been popping up all over the country. So the Tesla connector is plugged firmly into that, and you have to pull kind of hard. I'm wondering if you should be pushing the button to get it unlatched or not. I don't know. They aren't showing up in the Tesla app for you to do the non-Tesla superchargers yet. Supercharging of non-Tesla cars. So right now it's just doing the Tesla cars. You just kind of pull that a little bit firmer, and it goes right where the current connection is for the little latch. It's like a little plastic nub that hooks into where the car latches to lock the cable. And so far they seem to be doing just fine for these V3 superchargers, and it'll be interesting to see what this looks like when you pull it out, because it looks like, given the amount of space, it looks like it's going to be smaller than the regular CCS handle. Kind of probably something like the reverse of the Tesla CCS adapter, which I think is going to be kind of cool.
Right.
And
So
see
that
them popping up.
that looks like that whole black part comes off.
It does. It does. The
Like
the
that
inner part.
whole
Yeah.
thing comes off,
Yeah. And so in there will be a
and
CCS
then you plug
connector.
that into your.
Yeah. And then, so I'm curious.
So yeah.
It's gonna be interesting, because they said what,
When you
7,500 to start with, right? Huh?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Eddie said dangle
As
SUV.
far
I'm
as I
like,
know,
yeah,
yes. Yeah. 7,500 of
yeah, Eddie. The SUVs are selling, so that's what they're making, and they're cheap too. Cheap to make, not cheap to buy. So what's gonna happen here is you'll open up your Tesla app with your non-Tesla car. You'll say I'm install 8B or 8 Delta, and then you push start, and then when you pull that down, instead of pulling down a Tesla cable, you'll pull down the NACS connector will be in a CCS adapter, and you can just plug that straight into your car, and then do your business and be on your way. Then you plug it back in to end your session. I think that even for us non-Tesla owners, or even for us Tesla owners rather, the benefit to this, if people plug it back in, is that we'll have less cables hanging on the ground, because that is a full-on electrical connection with the latch and everything. I think I've still seen some jerks just unplug and drop it on the ground.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, they get where that attachment gets worn out. There's a lot of times that I've gone
Yes.
to superchargers where I put it back in, turn around, it falls out. And I have to ask myself, am I going to turn around and go back and pick this up and then try to put it in and twist it and turn it to get it to
Get it
latch
to
on and
hang
stay
just
up
right.
there? So for
Yes.
that to
So what
happen,
I do there is I try to like
right,
place it
it
at the
got
bottom
just right.
of the little dip in the hole, or else if there's something wrong with it, I toss it over the top. So that's why I don't put the ones that are falling. I don't put them at
Right.
the
Well,
top, because it says they're broken.
that's the international symbol for this one is broken. You put it over the
Exactly.
top.
But don't tie it.
But
Don't
yeah,
tie
but
it.
if it's on the
Just
ground,
drape it. Yeah. Uh,
just
some
drape it
folks
over the
try to put
top.
it on the ground to do that, but that does two things. One, it allows it to get more damaged while you wait for them to repair it, and two, then folks don't know that it didn't just fall off the hook. Bennett
Right.
says, and you'll see folks
Right.
with a matching car roll up, walk away, and you'll say, "Hey, I could buy one of those." Yeah, it's true. I think this is going to sell more Teslas. He's right. He's right. Generally don't understand how this is going to work. That's why it's called magic. He's like, "Oh, you're right, dog. You're right." Oh, that's the other concern right here. Is EV
Well,
newbies pointing out that the cable might be too short for a lot of these cars.
yeah, I like the elegance of the short cable. It just is less stuff because I go to charge point all the time and the cable's all over the ground or you got to just
Yes.
charge points cable not necessarily on the ground, but it's you got this hanging system pulley this like pulley system to get the
Yeah, like
cables.
the gas pump, like the diesel pump that's got the extra thing in the middle so it can reach both sides of the car.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
What's going
It's
on,
just a
Andrew?
lot of extra infrastructure. With
It
the
is. It
supercharger,
totally
just
is.
goes right in.
Yeah. Yeah. So we talked about on what drives us show. We talked about Subway is claiming they're going to be starting a charging network. I wish them luck. We'll see more when they actually start. Um, here's something. You were looking for an inexpensive extra EV. The 2023 Chevrolet Bolt EV and EUV offer outstanding affordability. Same range while deducting the $7,500 EV tax credit. It starts at roughly 20 grand. It's still no $7,000 Leaf, but it's not a bad price.
It's so I spent a lot of time looking at that one,
Yeah.
and it's one of those situations where the 20,000 one is basic. It is basically five wheels, four on the ground, one in your hand. That's it. The battery. If you want anything in the car, you have to go up to the next level. It goes up quite a bit. It's a big price jump. And plus, my issue with these income cutoffs for the
Oh yeah.
tax credit, which is
So it's not
completely
actually a real savings for you.
unfair. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so, yeah.
Man. So for some people it'll work, but like you said, for
Yeah,
you,
but other than that, it could if I would never have to drive the car, but there's going to be an instance when I'm going to have to drive that car.
Daddy, I
So
need you to get some
I mean,
charge in my
giving it
car.
to
You're like,
Ah. I mean, no, they may be just longer than that. For instance, she may want to go out with her friends. Can I drive the 7-seaters? We can take everybody in one car.
yeah.
So, all right,
And then
fine.
you're
You
stuck
take
with that
my
one for a
car. I
day.
have your car to work. Right.
I feel you. I feel you. Okay, so for some people it'll work, but it's I get it. I feel you. Um, all right. So what are we looking at here? RJ Saranj is ramping production of our new Enduro drive unit for
Wait,
our dual motor.
you love Subway.
Yeah.
You love Subway too
So
fast. That's something I
what?
definitely want to see. So when we go on road trip, Subway, like we're sustaining Subway. And I
Oh, okay.
think Subway is almost like the perfect amount of time for charging.
Yes.
How long it takes them to make a sandwich and they get back to
Yeah.
the car. It's
And
like
then
the
eat it,
perfect
throw it
amount
away.
of speed charging. Right? So
Yeah.
other restaurants are just too slow. You're done charging before your food's ready. Subway's like perfect. And it's like
Right.
it's everywhere. Every charging
Right.
stop can easily. I mean, Subway needs like a 5x5 box to build one. You can put them anywhere.
That's a good idea. Yeah. And I didn't even think about that. Because like you said, the other restaurants take too long, and then the other ones that don't take too long are too unhealthy. So I can see
Right.
that. Yeah, that could work. So we wish them luck.
Yeah, I mean, we have road trips. We live on Subway, so yeah.
Yeah. Eddie says he's going to do the EUV. That one's less of a punishment box, but at the same time, for a kid's car, that's going to hit your pocket a little harder. but for your car, that's a good idea because you can get the options. You don't feel like you're in a punishment box. But for Dawood, he's already
Right.
got his Tesla and his wife's
Punishment
Tesla, so he
box.
doesn't need another comfortable
Right.
car. But he has to make sure his
True.
kids are
But
safe.
this year, he's gonna drive it for like a year.
Yeah.
Right. He's gonna drive it for like a year. This is off to college, and I'm stuck with it. And most campuses, freshmen can't bring a car on campus anyway. So now I got to
True.
deal with this thing. And I was like,
Oh
I gotta
man.
drive that.
Yeah. But even just to keep the wheels from getting flat spots. All right, so RJ Sarunch is the CEO of Rivian, and he sent us this photo from the assembly line of the new Enduro dual motor drive units. So up until now, every Rivian has been quad motor, all wheel drive. So they're still all wheel drive, but now this new motor is more efficient, it's lighter, it's cheaper, and it actually puts out a little bit more power. So basically, for the entry level model, they canceled all the four motor units and have replaced it with these. But you can also option them up a little bit and save some money. So they've started. It's incredible, exciting. Curious to know if the driver feel compares with the quad motors due to less weight on all four corners. And I said, they're inboard motors. Why do we have the corners? And then they came back with that it's still less weight. Yeah. Okay, cool. And I think this will be fun. And since they aren't going to do the tank turn anytime soon, that you don't need four motors if you're not going to tank turn, right? I'm getting by just fine on two.
It
You've got
just
this.
seems like Rivian was doing a lot. They are selling this one trick for who the heck needs a tank turn. I mean, I guess if I park in the middle of my garage, I can tank turn it to drive out instead of having to back out.
It has to be a loose surface like dirt or gravel.
But I mean, exactly. I'm just kidding. I can't.
Like you have
It still
a gravel
wouldn't work
floor
in
in your
that
garage
situation.
or a dirt floor in your
Oh,
carport. Yeah,
but yeah, but the cost, that's the cost. I mean, the cost is the battery and the drivetrain. So
yeah,
you cut that cost by half, and then you make your profit on the soft stuff. You
exactly.
charge a bunch of $1,000 on leather seats and a leather wrap steering wheel and a fancy radio, which costs you nothing to make, but you
Right,
charge thousands and thousands to the customers. That's
right,
where you make your profit. I don't know why
right,
did it come out with a two-wheel drive from the beginning.
right. And then you further savings here when you
Yeah,
can
I
do
mean, and
if you're only doing two motors instead of four, you now have less man hours that go into making your motors because you're only making half of them.
exactly, yeah.
So, but you also bring up a good point. If they go
And
for a rear wheel drive
I would
truck,
say,
if they make a rear wheel drive
mhm.
truck, that'll be a quarter of the man hours. I mean, when you look at some of these like corporate cars or like somebody who doesn't need the four wheel drive, they could go even further on the savings, unless they need the
So
different gear
I did a
ratios for highway.
scientific poll just now. I
Oh
did a
yeah,
scientific poll just now, and I think most people are like me. I did a
yeah,
scientific poll. I
yeah,
think most people are like me. We'd like to have a pickup truck, but we don't tow. We would hardly put things in the back, but just to have that utility for when you want
yeah,
it, a two-wheel drive is fine for
exactly.
most applications.
Yeah, like if I spy in my car when I'm
I mean,
towing, other than acceleration, it does almost everything, even some acceleration with the front motor. It doesn't use the big motor for almost anything, even when towing, unless I launch it while towing, which
I don't even need a four-wheel drive. An all-wheel drive Tesla. Actually, when we put in our order for our Model Y,
yeah,
we held off for a while because we thought they were going to do the rear-wheel drive, and they never did. But it's like for us,
not
range
here,
was king. What was the point of having this extra
extra motor.
extra
Yeah,
battery, extra motor when it just adds weight, and we don't need it in California,
exactly.
with the
They did
exception of
it
this
for
one
a couple
weekend.
of weeks in
Other than
China,
that,
and even they didn't get it for very long. That was like the thirty-five
right,
thousand dollar Tesla here. It was like blink and you missed it. To the point where people say,
right,
"Oh,
right.
they never made the $35,000 Tesla they promised us." Yeah, they did. You just didn't see it. It was gone that fast. All
Yeah.
right, so we've got another fun one now. So
So, yeah.
so Wood and I we get struck with the whole legacy label constantly. Legacy. Tesla doesn't care about you. Your legacy. That's not exactly true. It just feels that way when they're showing off new stuff. Your turn. Ryan was over there with the kilowatts at the delivery lot. He found some cool stuff. Uh, let's start with what he saw first. He saw some new wheels and brakes on Model S and Model X. So we see that they've got the red calipers from the factory. So is this the upgraded
Mm,
brakes or is this the ceramic brakes for 20,000? I think these are the upgraded brakes for the Plaid. That's probably what we're seeing here. Because they don't look as fancy as
mhm,
the ceramic brakes that we saw on Marquez's car. He's got an early version of it, but I don't imagine
mhm.
that Tesla would deviate that much from it, that it would not look as cool. That's what I've got. I've got the performance with the small wheels, so you can tow more in black. But I've got the fancy glitter black. They call it obsidian black metallic. It's gone now. And those don't look bad. They don't look bad at all. So I think this is probably just the
No.
upgraded kit. Hello. And let's see. Next, he found this is the fun stuff. So this is where you guys start to feel obsolete. Yeah, new brakes, no big deal. I can put brakes on my car. I can't do this. These are the new 5 megapixel cameras. You'll notice that the turn signal LED is even thinner than ever. It starts shorter. It's
Hmm.
thinner. Yeah, and you can see the angle of the curvature of that lens. It's completely new. Same on the rear camera and the side camera on the pillars. Good morning, baby. Did you have a good nap? Oh, uh, you might need to learn from Dawood because she's always in people's mouths. She might be a dentist. thing I.
I'm looking for one. Hey,
All right.
what's
So
up?
then the other thing we see is
Oh,
that
you're
it's
not
pretty much
clapping. All right.
yeah, clapping. We still see the same number of cameras. So even though Green saw that they have more camera ports, it doesn't appear that Tesla is putting the additional cameras on the S and X yet. They are using them on the Semi, obviously, and they will probably for sure have them on the Cybertruck. But what it looks like they're going to do for the S and X and then later the 3 and Y is phase in the additional cameras. So whatever changes they were going to make aren't done yet. We see this new defroster grid, which I think debuted recently. So that way when the car is looking around, it doesn't have a constant horizontal set of lines going across it. So you still have 3 cameras, and you still have the IR temperature sensor and ambient light sensor right here. I don't know that you actually need a ambient light sensor when you got all those cameras, but I'm also curious how they're going to handle the temperature sensor without having it right there on the glass. Are they going to move it somewhere else, or can you tell the temperature by looking through a camera? I mean, I'm sure there's a way, but is it reliable enough? Or do they just look it up on the internet? You're here, it's probably good enough. But that would mean, though, that if Tesla ever goes bankrupt, then you'll have a whole bunch of cars that don't know what temperature it is when they're just running around. I don't think Tesla's going to bankrupt anytime soon. I'm just saying, if something happens to them. All right, so let's look at some more pictures that Ryan took. So this one is the old one. See how it's kind of
the
more inward? Huh?
The point here now is that everybody's legacy?
Yeah, everybody's legacy.
You were saying everybody's legacy now.
Everybody's legacy. So this is what you and I have on your Model Y and on my Model X. They kind of look straight back a little more, and then you can see that the light bar is much larger, a much larger portion of the whole. And then you can see. I don't know if this is the new one or the old one. I'm guessing the new one because I don't see an obvious. It could be that an obvious.
Doesn't have the heater strips.
Yeah. Well, they're forming a triangle right here. So
there it is. Let's see it first.
This may be one of the ones where they took away the temperature sensor, or it's this little guy off to the side. And then here's an old side view camera like we have now on our pillars. And then there's an old rear view camera. See how much less angle it's got? How much less glass there is? And now you can see that the steering wheel is available from the factory. You don't have to get a yoke if you don't want to. I'm going to get the yoke because I like it.
Yeah, I did.
It's nothing blocking my screen. And let go. Let go. Thank you. Let's take my glasses and then put fingerprints all over them. Does it all in half a second. I'm like, you're so fast. So yeah, so you don't have to get the yoke if you don't want to. I like the yoke because there's nothing blocking my screen and it makes it feel more open and spacious. But you have a choice.
So you've been driving with the yoke?
Yeah, I've been driving with the yoke for almost a year now. Or over a year now.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you had a yoke on your car.
Yeah.
How does it take to get used to it?
Yeah, I get used to it. The thing to remember with the yoke or the switching back to the wheel from the factory is you don't get stalks, and everything's still a touch button all around the wheel. So other than the wheel's now round, you're not gaining anything except nostalgia and comfort with not having to learn anything new.
And grabbing up here, I need to grab. How long does it take until your muscle memory have to try to grab something up there?
2 hours for me. Some people say it's all day, the first day. Yeah, so with this one turned, you can see there's no stock back there. And then just like the Semi and the yoke models, everything's up on the wheel. All right, and then let's see what's next. All right, so he did the wheels. This person said, do you have pictures from the calipers? He's like, that's what I started with. So he just redid the pictures. And no more ultrasonics on any car. Yep. The brakes are exactly the same. 4 pistons, just in red. Brake pads have better compound. Oh no, he said the rear wheels. The other ones were front wheels. And Bennett says, I'm going to feel a certain way if Hardware 3 cars can't reach the FSD goal and they can't be retrofit for Hardware 4. Bare minimum, we need to transfer the purchase of a new car. See, I think that would be their easiest way out of this, is just let us upgrade. But the other thing they can do is if they don't, move the goalposts, what they can do is they can make a run of Hardware 4 boards that fit in the Hardware 3 space, or actually the Hardware 2 space. And you'll have to move some of the chips around. You'll have to make sure the mount points fit, and then you have to make sure that for the liquid cooled cars, you have to make sure that that you move the inlets so they fit. And then for the air cooled cars, you have to make sure that there's enough room and capability to air cool them. The same. You have to make sure there's enough room to air cool them successfully. Yeah. Then David asked, how do you turn signal without a stock? So that's what's interesting, and why most people are complaining is because you've got these little buttons on the edge of the spoke for the yoke of the wheel, opposite from the scroller wheel. And their concern is that as you're turning, those buttons are moving. So if you are in a traffic circle and you want to exit the traffic circle properly, you're supposed to signal on your way out of the traffic circle. And I did this to her a couple times. Now she does it on her own. She's taking my hand and she's putting it all over her face, palming her face. So to properly legally exit the traffic circle, you need to signal. And if you have to keep track of where the wheel is while you're spinning and driving and not crashing, it makes it less fun. And I agree with that premise. Elon's argument is, why are you doing this anyway when the car is doing it? And the car does legally signal to get out of the traffic circle if it's driving. But you might be in a place where the car drives like poo. Or so he's saying in the long scheme of things, it won't matter. Just like not having a gear shifter, because on the what you do is you put your foot on the brake and the car will decide to go forward or back based on A, how you got in there, and B, what it can see. Because if you pulled into a garage, like one of those parking garages that spins it around, or one of the ones that like parks it on a shelf and brings it back, that one usually spins it around too. And so you drove in and there's a wall behind you, so you'll need to drive out. But if you drove into a space and both sides are open, you probably just want to reverse out of the space. And if it gets it wrong, there's a little strip on the edge of the screen that you slide up to go forward, and you slide down to go in reverse. And then I don't really know how neutral works, but they've also got a manual override down on the bottom of the phone chargers. So
it's hard enough going into a car wash as it is.
You don't car wash a Tesla.
Putting the car into neutral, it just
yeah. But they've got car wash modes. You'll do that from the screen.
Yes, I've seen this.
And so I
get
guess in the
it
long
into neutral, you gotta just barely tap it. Just gotta just tap it a little bit to get into neutral.
Yeah.
But if you overdo it, in reverse. I get back and forth. I get reverse.
Right. Go fight the power. Is that what you're doing? Ah. She was doing the dap earlier. We don't know where she learned that because we don't dap, and and she hasn't seen any media with it. She did it like 3 times in a row. She said, yeah. But yeah. So I'm guessing Elon's situation is like he said. Eventually, you won't need to touch it. So why bother making it good now? But he keeps doing this. Like, hey, yeah, you don't need parking sensors because eventually the car will do it with cameras. Like, yeah, but what about tomorrow? What do I want to do about tomorrow when I park it? Do I just park the car for a year until you get it right? No.
Exactly. You got to deal with the now.
Yeah. David says the car needs to be safe day one. No excuses, etc. will be automatic in the future. Losing some patience with this in FSD. Agreed. I totally agree. There's another place they could do the turn signal so they're in thumb's reach without being like spinning on the wheel, or the stock is the easiest way, and I understand the stock costs a lot of money. Maybe put it on the door handle or something. I don't know what would be another way they could do it in the meantime. But how about until you're ready, you don't remove stuff, even if you lost the contract, give somebody else the contract,
Right.
and then when it's ready, then start removing stuff from the car. In fact, some people have extra stuff that just for no reason because we needed something to do with all these buttons. That's fine. Versus, oh yeah, sorry you hit your garage door because you've been driving Tesla for 20 years and all of a sudden this is the first one you got without sensors and our cameras weren't ready yet.
But they already do that. I mean, they already set it up where they're selling every car that does the same thing. Every car is fully ready for full self-driving, even
Right.
though people don't turn it on.
Right.
So,
Right.
why can't they just make every car with a
Right.
stock on it until they don't need a stock? Then they stop making
Exactly.
stock.
They sold 1.39 million cars last year, and there are 400,000 subscribers or purchasers of FSD. So they're used to this. In fact, it costs a lot less for stocks than the FSD computer. Although the profit margin is much higher on FSD, $15,000 when somebody decides to
It
buy.
it is. It is, but they just built the space for a computer. And I understand they're running them in shadow mode, so they are collecting data from
Yeah,
me. But I don't know. The argument can be made that if you want SFD, you just show up and they pop the computer in and you're good to go.
exactly. Or the better computer,
You
like
know,
they did
so,
with 2.5 to 3. And then Bennett brings up a good point. He said, it's okay.
instead
Vision
of
Parking is only 2 weeks
waiting like
away. 2 Elon weeks, I'm assuming it's a joke he wrote.
2 weeks.
Because remember, what was it, three
We know
Fridays
what
ago?
2 weeks means.
Or no, it wasn't 3 Fridays. 3 Saturdays ago, Elon said, "All right, 11.3 is going out now," and he said this weekend, Saturday night, his time, it's going out this weekend. Here we are 3 weeks later. It's not on anybody who doesn't work for Tesla's car yet. So, but I mean, even that, when they come out with a new version of the hardware, like when they went from AP1 to AP2, the car couldn't even cruise control again. AP 2.5 to AP3, the car could cruise control, but it couldn't do any of the stuff you were used to, like hold the lane or crash avoidance or any of that cool stuff.
Right.
Yes, it comes eventually, but why not make sure eventually is ready before you change over? Or at least let people know, hey, we can ship this car with the old computer, we can give you a loaner of like a warranty part, and then when we've got the software ready, you can come in and switch it out for hardware 3. Or then later on, I guess hardware 4 would be harder because they don't match, but I assume that when hardware 4 cars come out, you're going to have
What
the same
about
place. You're going to
everyone?
say, hey, the car doesn't cruise control. Huh? Say
What
again?
about hardware to people like me?
Yeah,
Hardware to people like me. We're way behind. What are we gonna do?
right. You get the hardware
Well,
3
it's a
and you can give
hardware
them
Ford. I still don't have
$15,000.
full self drive.
But what I think is going to
15,000. Bring
happen
me the
is,
hardware 3, and then that's
yeah,
it.
that's it. What I think is actually going to happen is they're going to find out they can't do it with hardware 3. They're going to have to make a special batch plus the warranty boards of hardware 4 computers that fit in the hardware 3 space. And then, for those of us that have paid already, they're going to have to pay to upgrade us. For those of them on subscription, they're going to be pissed, especially if they paid the $1,500 to upgrade to hardware 3, and now they got to pay again to go to hardware 4 because they subscribed instead of purchasing. They're going to be mad. So what I'm thinking in that case, he would be smart to do something like the cell phone plans where, hey, we see that you're a subscriber. We'll get you the hardware 4 modified board if you sign a 24-month contract. And then, at $399 or however much they're up to charging nowadays, I think it's still $199. But, when the hardware 4 is ready and they start charging for it, I think if they charge whatever that price is, lock the price in because, if you do an Elon thing, it's doing this. Speaking of doing this, Starlink went up $10 for residential if you're in a congested area, and it went up. I forget how it went up if you are on the RV plan, but it went down, which I like. I like this about the Elon companies. They do bring the price down sometimes. If you are residential in a non-capacity area, your price went down $10 a month, and same if you're camping out in an RV zone that's not anywhere near pools. Why did I bring this up here is because I didn't save that article to put in the show. Bennett says selling car with turn signal controls as expected. arguably has a pretty high profit margin too. Yeah, absolutely. Because people stop buying your car because they don't know how to use it or don't like how to use it. That could be an issue. You want to go to mommy? Do you want mommy? Yes. Mommy. Yeah. Okay. Um, and then Timothy says, "Greetings, greetings, greetings." All right. Harbor 3.5. See, yeah, that would be another option they could do rather than do a hardware 4 that fits in a hardware 3. They could do a 3.5 that's got everything they need for FSD and plus enough for warranties, and then just call it a day and then just be done with it. Switch this over here. Pick my trigger real quick. Air quality's gone green now. We're up to 82. And I got a sugar rating, but I don't see it. Let's do it again. 90. I'm gonna have a cookie. Got cookies. It's not a Lego. It's whole kids to it. She stepped on something. All right, so Brandon asked if there were cameras hiding in the wheel wells. The answers, he said probably. The answer is no. We learned later that that Tesla's gonna be phasing them in. So here we go. Is the new one, old one, new, old. So the angle is significant. Look how much more out and back it looks then. This one's kind of looking alongside the car, like how some people have their mirrors set. And it says, I wonder if Roadster will be Harbor 4 or Harbor 5. That's a very good question. It will probably be Harbor 5 if they keep this up, because Elon said Harbor 4 is not the end. It's just a step. So I would say the Roadster is going to be Harbor 5 or 4.5. David says they got money, my money for FSD 5 years ago. My Model 3 bought in March of 18. If they had reserved a sale of FSD at a locked price and just said we'll charge you when it works, this would not stink so bad, I assume. Why did it cut off your comment? I assume it stinks so bad. And then Bennett says, how many Model Ys were sold to someone coming from an old X because folks didn't like the controls on the yoke? That's a very good question. It had to have been enough that they offered it as an aftermarket accessory. You could literally say, hey, not aftermarket accessory, as a dealer option. So you can say, hey, a dealer, the equivalent of what a Tesla dealer option is, a factory option. Not factory, but you could get it done at your service center or with your mobile tech. There were enough people for them to make a run of them like that. So clearly they were losing some amount of sales to that. So what this person was showing was not necessarily the angle, but the fact that the light bar was smaller on the new one. Doesn't mean it's not brighter. Somebody was asking about the temperature sensor, ambient light sensor, and I said it's been there many years. This person was confused by there still being 3 front cameras. And again, Tesla's phasing in the new cameras. And I don't know why they still thought they were in Model X's, because several of those pictures we looked at were Model X's. Ryan couldn't find any new cameras, not even the cross camera perpendicular rear traffic. Again, you can buy these cars, but you're going to be legacy already by the time you get these, unless Tesla says up front, hey, we've got the ports, we've got the cables, and then later on we'll install these cameras for you. So you gotta, basically, this basically would be like getting hardware 3.5, except you get the new compute. and cameras, but not all of the new cameras. I don't see the appeal of this if you personally. But Wednesday we've got the Investor Day event, and we'll be covering that on the Tesla Life show live, and it'll be interesting to track this thing down. All right, let's go to some more. All right, so we talked about the Magic Dog. Am I in the right window? I'm in the right window. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Ford. We got like 3 Ford articles in a row. Talk taxes. Nissan, again, not the Aria, just Nissan. Talk the Philippines and SpaceX. And as you notice, I don't really typically cover these countries as they are a new market, because it's not all that interesting. However, this one is interesting as far as like it's novel. It's different than just, hey, they're in the Philippines now. All right, I've opened like 10 windows. The computer's probably gonna start to hate me soon. All right, let's see. All right, so this one is another MSNBC or CNBC, sorry. And Ford had suspended the F-150 Lightning production for another week following a battery fire. So we talked about the car that failed QC, and let's see what they have to say about themselves now. Michael Wayland. Production of the F-150 Lightning pickup is suspended for another week following the battery fire. It resulted in one of the vehicles catching fire, and then what we do know is that vehicle set another vehicle on fire. Ford said last week that it expected the vehicle assembly to be down through at least this week as engineers determined the root cause of the issue and implemented changes to production. It sounded like they knew. I guess they wanted to be sure of what they know. It sounded like some of the equipment just kind of like pierced the battery. Let's see. Suspending production. SK has started building cells again at a plant in Georgia, but it will take time to ensure they're back to building high quality cells. Okay, so there's what they call extreme caution, or however they call it. Occurred February 4th on a holding lot during pre-delivery quality check while the vehicle was charging, followed by Ford suspending production and issuing a stop shipment of the vehicles to dealers. Ford said engineers determined there was no evidence of a charging fault, and also they said that it didn't affect vehicles that were already sold. Dan suggested that it might have been a case of, like we saw with the Bolt and the Korean cars, where it starts out as, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong. Oh, we got a software update, blah, blah, and it accelerates. We don't know that, and we'll see if that does happen, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Let's see. It's being watched by investors, and battery issue adds to ongoing execution issues. Detailed to investors earlier this month by Ford CEO Jim Farley, that crippled the automaker's fourth quarter earnings. So some of the other issues they talked about, how they didn't know that they were putting too much wiring in the cars. They didn't realize some of the places they were wasting too much money. And that was just the EVs. So I'm assuming that there must have been more about the fossils in order for them to have such a reaction. All right, so now we've got, come on, computer. I'm not reading Ford. I am reading Ford, but not reading CNBC. New electric Ford SUV to be revealed on March 1st. So we saw the Cadillac above the Lyric, and this appears to be about the same size. So this might be the Ford counterpart to that vehicle. Interesting. And see, this is the way that a manufacturer does when they're trying to hide their wheels. They don't put the face on them; they put steelies on it instead of whatever should be there. In Tesla's case, they'll put, like the Cybertruck, they'll put what goes under the wheel cover. They'll still do alloys, but they'll put what goes under the wheel cover on there. So that's why I think that Mazda was, something else is going on with that Mazda. All right, let's see. Ford is adopting popular names with popular fossils for the next generation EVs. It succeeded with the Mustang Mach-E. Many people associate with this gas-powered Mustang line, which is still on sale. But what are you doing with that butt paste? Oh, you wanted to change? You coming back? You want up? I'll pick you up. Ah, where'd your pants go? You did get a diaper change. She's got butt paste. Don't eat the butt paste. Oh, gross. Oh, it's not that hot. Put your pants on. She's fighting. She's kicking him off. Gotcha. You're gonna go live without pants. We're not that kind of family. All right, so David says, would like to see Ford succeed. I hope the fires are not a serious setback. They seem the most all in, and I would hate for them to fail, proving Toyota and others right to hesitate. I agree, because when you look at it, like as much as Mary says that they're number one, Ford says we're number two to Tesla, and they're working on doing what they can, and they actually walking the talk, not just talking the talk. You're gonna get meat all chocolatey if you give her a chocolate cookie. No, give her a baby snack. No, she got it. It'll be all chocolatey. She dropped the butt paste. Gonna eat that or just look at it? There you go. All right, so yeah, I think that Ford's in a good spot as far as like understanding where they are, knowing what they need to do to fix it, and then hopefully doing what they need to do. All right, next up, we got one more Ford story in a row. Doesn't mean we've got only this one for the rest of the day. The Mustang Mach-E Select and Premium orders are going to close next week. So we saw this happen last time where they were just closing out for the model year. They knew how many they're going to make, and they were approaching that, so they just closed it. So if you want a 2023 Mach-E, you've got until next week to decide, hey, I want a 2023 Mach-E. After that, they're going to shut down for a while, and at some point they'll open back up, and you'll get 2024 Mach-Es, assuming that the model survives next year. And I don't see why it wouldn't. But just like with Tesla, if you wait too long, who knows if you're going to like the new one? They might remove some features you like. They might raise the price too high. They might lower the price. But we've seen that Ford was one of the ones with Tesla that lowered their price already. So I don't think that that's something you have to worry about. That waiting will get you a lower price. It will get you changes. That's all we can say. But they might not be changes you like. So you just sucking the chocolate off that cookie and leaving the cookie? Who's gonna eat the cookie, mommy? That's a problem for somebody else. Bennett agrees with Ford. Other folks don't have as a believable transition plan. I agree. Like it. The only other one that even kind of comes close to that is the Volkswagen Group, and that's only because their previous CEO was just like Mr. Farley as far as like, hey, let's talk to Tesla, let's pick their brain, let's use their free stuff, let's chase them and play their game. We're not going to beat them from where we are, but once we get on our feet, we can surprise them with some tricks up our sleeve. Versus Mary talking a big talk, getting herself the Automotive Excellence Award or whatever, because she saw the company survive 2008, come back from 2008. Let's call it that, because they are a new company started after 2008, and they mentioned it's because she's a woman. Doing that as a woman, I think that was the notable part. Not that because she's a woman, she won the award. You've got so much chocolate on your face and hands. I just have a feeling you're gonna drop that cookie on me. I don't like sticky. I don't like sticky. Even before you were around, I didn't like sticky. All right, let's move on before I make her cry. You just lounge your back, eat a chocolate cookie. All right, here, I'll help you up so you don't have to touch anything. Here's how the new U.S. tax credits and rebates will work for clean energy home upgrades. My house is 10 years old this year, and it might need some adjustments. So here's Electrek's article. We might skim this. Let's take a look and see if we want to skim it. And I put it in the chat there for those of you on YouTube and Twitch. I don't know if we're on Facebook this week, but if we are on Facebook this week, there it is. So you get $250 for an exterior door. I need a front door. My front door is warped. $500 for all exterior doors. I only have 2 doors. Well, I've got 3. I don't need all doors. I just need 1 door. $600 for exterior windows. I could use some triple pane windows, but I don't think that's enough to do it, so I'm gonna skip that. Skylights. I'm not installing a skylight. I've got solar panels. That would be an ugly view, just the back of a solar panel, if it even fit. $2,000 for a heat pump. So again, that AC unit's been in there, and the furnace have been in there since the house was built. So that might be worth looking into. Heat pump hot. Oh, I hate it when people put the extra hot in there. Heat pump water heaters for homeowners who don't qualify for the rebate due to higher household income. See below. The latter $2,000 is the exception to the $1,200 annual limit. Excuse me. So I've got a gas instant hot water system. So that one came on with the expansion of the solar array. It uses more gas than a gas water heater and more electricity equivalent, excuse me, than a regular one. But it's only running when the tap is open. We're in a natural gas neighborhood, so I don't know how much I can remove before I'm running afoul of their fossil fuel ways. That cookie looks the same on both sides now. How did you get all that chocolate off so fast? She should get her hands in like Winnie the Pooh and some honey. All right, residential energy credits. All right, I'm going to save this one for me to read later, and I've included it for you guys to read. So I mentioned that we would talk about Dodge, and here we are. The Dodge Challenger, Charger, Daytona, EV, Fratsonic, a bunch of nostalgic names to try and get you to buy just from your childhood. It gets its exhaust sound updated. Here's a sound check. So this YouTuber at Internet took a microphone, put it behind the car where the speaker is, and here we can hear what Dodge has done since they announced "Wake the Neighbors Loud." This thing has got 126 decibels. That is enough to damage your hearing. Why is this legal? I pointed out that because it's always on and it's always the one thing, that might be why it's allowed to count as a pedestrian warning system, but somebody else pointed out that that might not count because it's doing this reviness. It's not just getting louder as you go faster and then petering away, or actually getting quieter as you go faster and then petering away. It's something that's linked to your lightning pedal. Now let's listen to this mess. Why? Just like those guys up there running up the highway that were trying to show us that they could attract a lady. I guess they weren't all necessarily attractive ladies, but either way, that they could attract a mate by the prowess of the. You can turn it off? That's cool if you turn it off. But at the same time, you need a BWS by law, so interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I like it that way. I like it quiet. I'm hearing kind of like a rustly wind noise. That might count as a PWS. We hear the tire scratching. Okay, I like that, the quietness. That's fine. So let me put a link to this guy's video in the chat so you can watch it all if this is something that interests you at all. Keep the noisemakers, just figure out a good reasonable cost for batteries. Yes. Battery powered, like a separate battery for the noisemaker. Forget the noises. I like the bird chirp Rivian sound. Yes, the one that we saw where Rivian talked about how it harmonizes with nature and all that. I like that. Well, I guess because when you roll by in a Y with 500 horsepower, nobody knows you can smoke them. Okay, there's that. But why not put up or shut up? Like all this talk, and the way they phrased it, they made it sound like they were stepping up to Tesla on it, but then they didn't. You got chocolate all over your face. They didn't. They even used the current 0 to 60 time when they announced, but they didn't call it 0 to 60. They were referencing it. They were stepping right up to say that we were as good. So they might be making, like, this is what my wife says when we're driving and you hear one of these people just rev. She says, "You're making all that noise and going slow." Yes, you're making all that noise, and it's probably going to be slow compared to the Tesla, the Ford, and whatever else is out there. Is that too much chocolate for a baby? You get it on your leg now. Don't drop that cookie. Don't drop it. Eat that cookie. You don't want me to take it from you? No, I don't want to share the chocolate in your hands. Want me to take this cookie from her? Touch anything. I need my hands. Here you go. You gave her that chocolate cookie. Oh, Bennett says, I need folks to hear I bought the fast one. Nobody's looking at me. They could make like Tesla does, the red brake calipers, and then people could try and copy it. I don't know. It's but see, here's the thing. I keep saying electrify all the things, right? Even the obnoxious little man cars, they need to be electric as well. So do they know their customers? It sounds like they know their customers. Just because their customers are juvenile doesn't mean they don't deserve a car. David says, let the motorheads have, the motorheads have pretty much learned. I've noticed the fast kids rarely challenge Teslas on light now. You're right. When my, what did I have? I was in a Model S 70 a long time ago. I mentioned it on the show for whatever reason. And somebody still challenged me in like an old Honda Accord. It wasn't even really souped up, but they got so light and they embarrassed them in a Model S 70D with the factory speed limit mode on. So that's pretty bad. All right, so next up we've got Nissan, an electric truck. Nissan, an electric truck, you say? We need the modded Civic Sound next. Speaking of the Civic Sound, my Model X, like within a week or two after I bought it, the low tone horn failed because it was rusty. I don't know how or why it was rusty because it hadn't been rained on or washed yet. So all that was left was the high tone horn, and so I'd push it, and it would sound like a Japanese car, meep 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 meep, because the American horns and the Teslas are dual tone, low and high, whereas a lot of the Japanese are just two highs, and so it sounded like a quiet Civic. And then after my mobile tech replaced that, it sounded like a Tesla again. With turbo sounds, yes. Because remember, the Porsche Taycan has a Turbo S, and a turbo, and a GT. Well, the GT makes sense, but the turbo does not make sense. Unless they're going for like the turbo button on your PC, which made it slower so you could play the old games. All right, so anyway, Nissan. There's a big truck here with a big old N on the grill, right? Yeah. That's not a Nissan. That's Nikola. So what we're going to find out is Nissan has a new fleet of Nikola and Kenworth electric semis to deliver vehicles to dealers in Los Angeles. Not bad. Nissan was a pioneer in the EV space with Nissan Leaf. They were. They beat Chevrolet by a couple months with the Volt. But since then, did they beat Tesla with the Roadster? I don't believe so. No, but they beat the Model S. Anyway, the Japanese brand looks to revitalize the electric brand image and continue to grow. A more aggressive electrification plan launched the fleet of Nikola and Kenworth electric semis that will deliver vehicles to Nissan dealers in Los Angeles. All right, it's a start. And now we get an idea of how the Tesla delivery trucks might look, because they've got a large fairing on top as well. So just hook a regular trailer to it, it looks like, rather than the car carrier where they've got one on top of the cab. Well, congratulations to Nissan. Thanks mainly to the Tesla Semi, the use of electric semis could easily expand overall in coming years. That would be funny if later on they end up using Tesla semis to deliver their Nissans. Sitting right there for Porsche. Let's give them an up, dude. And let's see what people have to say about it. Good stuff. I'm sure you'll hear more companies moving more to e-trucks in the future. Yeah. I mean, especially if you match the load to the vehicle. You don't need a long haul truck for everything. One BEV truck makes 125-mile round trip delivery and then back to the charger till tomorrow. That's fine. What's wrong with that? Especially if that's the guy's shift. I mean, you can only legally drive so much in a day. And driving in town, you're not going to get as far as driving on the highway. Well, them looking similar is kind of funny since there's a lawsuit about those trucks. Yes. and their battery one doesn't even look like the Tesla. Their hydrogen one does. Short range Class 8 rigs are perfect for local delivery routes. Yes. But then, since many have accused the brand of being complacent, no need to accuse. Just look at their production and sales numbers. Yeah, like they were winning, and then they just fell asleep. Tortoise in the hare. Tesla ran past them. Chevy ran past them. Then Chevy fell asleep. Ford is running past them. And Volkswagen. I mean, they've got the Aria now, but they're still not doing the kind of numbers you'd expect from them. No need to accuse them. Look at their sales numbers. They basically just compliance efforts, and they haven't tried to raise above that with any real urgency. Nissan won't last a decade. So part of this is what happened with their previous CEO. They ran Carlos Ghosn out of Nissan Renault / who's the third one? Nissan Renault. I don't remember who the third one is. But that partnership, it wasn't Mitsubishi. Are you talking maybe? But since they ran out of that partnership, they've been even slower at EVs than they were before. The problem with the Leaf was they didn't do any cooling on the battery. It was all passively cooled, not even air cooled. It was passively like radiated. The Nissan ENV 200 was a Nissan Leaf van, and it had a computer case fan to do active air cooling. So what was happening was they found out in the American Southeast, like South Carolina, Georgia, American Southwest, like Arizona, they found that their batteries couldn't handle it. So they had to come up with a new chemistry that they ended up calling the lizard battery. And after they put the lizard battery in, they stopped failing like instantly. And you thought that would have been when they recovered, but I guess that's also when they ran their CEO out and they weren't serious about EVs for a while. But they're back. Nikola is uniquely positioned. Not only has it both battery and fuel cell tech, it has factories in the US and Europe. Okay. Yeah. How can I help you? What about Daddy? You've got chocolate on your face. Right here. How did you get chocolate on your forehead, child? Anyway, please name a tech and battery or fuel cell tech that Nikola has. Waiting. Badge for Badger. Nikola Tray, FCV, and what's new about these? So buying third-rate off-the-shelf parts and having a team of fourth-rate engineers cobble it together is valuable proprietary tech that Nikola has. Okay, that was a little harsh, but you have a point. This guy named Hydrogen First. 140 went to customers, but they started in Q2 and Q4. They delivered only 20 because they modified the truck based on customers' feedbacks. Still, they want to keep production low till they can reduce the cost significantly. Can you reduce the cost significantly and stay in business? Like, you want to sell them while you can, unless you're losing money on each one, which will be going towards the end of this year when fuel cell version will be going to be the main product anyway, because demand is huge. We'll see how they work this fuel cell thing. Bennett says Nissan was apparently too busy dealing with Renault and Mitsubishi drama. So it was Mitsubishi. Okay, then yeah, they certainly were. Goen was railroaded. Yeah, it certainly looked like it. Like, I mean, like they could have handled it like adults. Like, we don't like you. We want you to leave. Here's some money. GTFO. Instead of like what they did with the Japanese law enforcement. Because as much as they say about the problems of our law enforcement, the rates of getting out of there once you get arrested by the Japanese police is, if they were doing good police work, okay, maybe, but they're just regular police like everybody else around the world. It doesn't look good the amount of times you get back out of a Japanese court. Did you brush your teeth today, baby? No. Huh? She doesn't need the banana. She's got all the toothbrushes. Yeah. Yeah. They could have done. They could have done that differently without sicking the police on him and making him get out of the country like that. Huh? Oh, you want to go? Okay, bye. All right. Next up, we've got. So I said the Philippines, right? So the Philippines, their government is going to use Starlink for a free public Wi-Fi program. That's novel and good. Department's rolling out free Wi-Fi for years. Local telcos, however, Philstar, the government now sees per Philstar, so that's their newspaper. The government now sees Starlink as a way to reach Philippines' geographically isolated, disadvantaged areas, and this makes sense because now your infrastructure is however much it's going to cost you to get an appropriate dish, and then service for that dish. So they probably need business plans, unless they have a government plan, but it's not available unless you reach out to them. And then you just drop these down with 120 volt power, because the Philippines was under U.S. purview for a while, so they probably have 120 volt, 60 hertz, just ready. Just plug it in, and even if they don't, whatever the local power is, just supply them at line power. Point them at the sky, and then you could put your own router in behind it, or you could use the Starlink router. It doesn't matter. And now you've got Wi-Fi in the middle of someplace that you spent tens of thousands of dollars to run fiber or coaxial cable or whatever to get service out to these places. And all you had to do was make sure they had electricity and plug it in. Done. So this makes sense, and I can see why they would do that. Currently, the program covers 72 provinces and 601 cities worldwide, nationwide. Sorry. Wow. They have 2.5 billion Philippine pesos to develop the network even further. It's unclear if participation in the network was part of the approval process for SpaceX in the country, nor did the government confirm if access to Starlink services would be at cost or would be free for the government. Interesting. Well, as much as Elon is complaining about giving Wi-Fi to Ukraine, I would imagine that no, Philippines is not getting the service for free. Doesn't mean they're not getting it at cost. As SpaceX and Tesla and a lot of the other Elon companies, they do work at cost for reasons, but he doesn't seem to be interested in running a charity other than his own. Not like saying he's greedy, but like he has a charity that he runs. Let's see. No comments on this one. Next up, I've got 3 different copies of this article, not from the same people. Tesla has patented ultra hard cold worked steel alloy for Cybertruck production. Here we see a photo of the Peterson exhibit. I need to make my way over before they shut this one down again. Like the Starship, Tesla will be made from steel, and the company has patented ultra hard cold worked steel alloy for the production of its electric pickup truck. Starlink RV is going to 150, really something. Yeah. So Starlink RV is that? I think like the let's look it up. I think like the residential plan is going to depend on where you are. I got an email from them saying that hey, yours is going up because you don't need this. You don't know what I need. See. Tesla explained there are many stainless steels that resist corrosion, including a family of commercially produced 3X series stainless steel. They include 301, 304, 304L, and 316, 316L, and are commonly produced in a variety of product forms. There are also other stainless steel products that are differentiated based on their microstructure and method of strength. Austenitic at 3XX series. Martensitic at 4XX series. Ferritic, duplex, and precipitation hardenable. Interesting. Martensitic steels require a controlled heat treatments for hardening cycles to increase hardness. However, additional treatments increase the cost of the alloy, require expensive equipment, and may cause warpage of the target product, depending on product form. Interesting. In addition, corrosion-resistant steels are typically a relatively large amount of require a relatively large amount of expensive cobalt for corrosion resistance, which increases the use of these alloys. All right. It's clearly indicated the exterior part of the car body can be produced from such an alloy, which does not require additional treatment to protect against corrosion. All right. Yeah, there's a cold work, which implies they're not going to do the heat treatment. Steel alloys with improved strength, hardness, corrosion resistance, useful for creating products such as exterior vehicle components. Such cold work alloys may allow the exterior-facing vehicle body components to be resistant to denting, scratching, and pitting, while avoiding the need for corrosive protective agent, e.g., paint, over the exterior of the vehicle. Exterior of the vehicle body components. Cold working, e.g., cold rolling, strengthens the disclosed steel alloy in part due to the strain-induced martensitic phase transformation in the austenitic matrix. Okay, so they're using both types, but I guess the pressure is what's going to treat them rather than heat treating them, which imparts improved hardness and strength for scratch and dent resistance. Advantageously, the phase transformations disclosed in the steel alloy was found to have increased hardness and strength while maintaining corrosion resistance. It says, I'm all for durable, but I'm curious how this works in a crash. And other vehicles, crumple zones present injuries or prevent injuries. When you look at the changes that we saw from this to the current betas or production intents or whatever they're at now, it looks like they have got them ready for. I bet these sails don't even work on this prototype here. We've never seen them open. Remember, when Tesla makes a car, they make it safety first, then all of their other stuff. Finally, it's electric. And they've been making cars for 20 years. So for them to suddenly not make a car that 100% whatever safety regs and tests are out there for both the governments and insurance agencies around the world, not saying that they won't do that, but it would be quite a shock for them to suddenly decide that they want to fail a safety test. And I suspect that this will do well, not just in the truck category, but I think it will do well overall in the crash tests, because given the way that Elon and the others talk about safety, it would look very hypocritical for them to do it another way. And the other thing you want to look at is that even though the steel is the exterior, it's going to be stressed like an airplane, so it's probably going to be thin like an airplane. And thin metals typically are easier to impart energy into deforming them. So when you look at the new front end of the Cybertruck, it looks a little more compatible. It's less brutal. I mean, it's still quite sharp, but it's not. Do they have Cybertruck on the site? I'll buy Cybertruck stuff. There we go. So oh, this is one we were going to discuss anyway, so we'll bring that up next about the IHS top safety pick. We'll just do it from the site. I'm looking for a photo of the front of the Cybertruck. There was some this month. That's one of the articles I picked up this week. Ah, here we go. Here's a picture of the front of the Cybertruck. So here we can see it's not as sharp as it used to be. It's a little taller. It looks a little flatter, and then there's a lot more going on in the bumper area. So I think that we'll end up being fine with it. And with this LiDAR truthing unit, it looks like googly eyes. With these wheels, like I said, we know that it's getting close because now they're doing calibration on the systems. I don't know why they use this particular steely, but the equipment that attaches to it and it's wheel calibration. All right, moving on. Yeah, exactly. If anybody can figure it out, I expect them to do it, and not just 5 stars, but like they continually keep doing 5 stars in every subcategory, because why not? And that's why I keep picking them over anybody else I could pick. Not the only reason, but that's I got a family to put in my car. Are you eating lunch? Kind of tough to eat lunch backwards. You gonna turn around? Oh, you gonna drink any of your juice? You got a juice bottle right there. Why are you grunting at me? Mommy took you where you wanted to go. All right, so Tesla Model Y earns IIHS 2023 Top Safety Pick Plus award. Now, what's notable about this is not just that, oh my goodness, Tesla passed another safety test. This is the new IIHS test, and it was just designed to make it more difficult. And they still managed to take top honors in this thing. So let's take a look here. And this year, the criteria are particularly stringent, with only 28 vehicles that tested receiving the award. And the reason they do this is, hey, all right, everybody knows how to build, safeguard, and pass these tests. Now let's just crank it up a little bit, because they're, the IAHS, they're an insurance agency. Their job is to make sure you survive and make sure that they don't have to pay as much as their members don't have to pay as much to fix your car. And then they've got the national crash tests agencies around the world. They want to actually save your life, not just save money. So all of them are cranking it up just to achieve the end goal of less people dying and being injured in crashes. They develop stricter safety criteria for vehicles as the organization encourages automakers to build on their advances. 101 winners last year. The number is now 48 in 2023. However, only 28 of them took the top Safety Pick Plus award. The number of winners is smaller this year because we're challenging automakers to build on safety gains they've already achieved, says the president of the IHS. These models are true standouts in both crashworthiness and crash protection. Model Y was one of the 28 Safety Pick Plus members, top Safety Pick Plus members, showing excellent results across all criteria. The vehicle was categorized as a mid-sized luxury SUV, which included 8 other vehicles. Changes to this year's test included a more difficult side impact test, According to IAHS, a new valuation involves 82% more impact energy than the original side impact test. My goodness. So they're getting faster and heavier, basically. They also raised their headlight rating criteria to top safety pick award, requiring all trim levels of the winning vehicle to be rated as acceptable or good. Previously, a car could win if one trim level performed well in the evaluation. So, like my Prius, my 04 Prius, I had the HIDs, but they shipped with halogen bulbs for everybody else. And so that one car having the good headlights meant that all of the Prius got rated good for headlights, even though they were not even close. Added a nighttime frontal collision avoidance test, the top safety pick plus award winner, and many advanced safety systems, included automatic braking, do not work well after sunset. Oh, really? Oh, interesting. However, some cars, including Tesla Model Y, have shown top results. In addition to the new test, the award-winning vehicles must continue to excel in moderate overlap front crash tests, as well as both driver and passenger small overlap front crash tests. They removed the previous roof strength tests. So that's the one where we saw Tesla saying, hey, we can stack 8 cars on top of each other safely and still do all right. So that test is no longer there for that. But you asked for me. You don't want me? Okay, bye. Busted. You want another nap? You want another nap? Come on here, take a nap. You're not tired? Everybody can see you having a fit. Was I ever? Go to mommy. Bye. She doesn't know what she wants. All right, so there was a video on some of these people's stuff. I don't know if that was the old video. So let's go to YouTube. IIHS. And I don't care about the Volvo. The Solterra is interesting. That's 3 days ago. We'll look at that. We like to look at crash tests. But that Volvo is a gasser, so I really don't care. That's TFL now. There we go. There's the Model Y 2022 updated side crash test. So that's going to be related to this new Top Safety Pick Plus. This video is a little shorty telling you about the new tests. So let's look at Tesla's new test, and then we'll look at the Solterra, and then we'll continue on. Wow. Controlled. Trim pieces of glass are just flying everywhere. The doors stay closed. Let's see how he does. All right, the airbag gets him. He stays in place. Very little recoil. That's good. Overall test is good. Full ratings at IAHS. Good job, Tesla. All right, let's see what's next. I almost closed the window, so switching engines. All right, so this is the Subaru Solterra updated side crash test. That one did okay. The doors did pop open at the top there. Not just the glass, but the frames. The frames are out. But it's so thin. See how the dummy does. Well controlled. Very little movement. And remember, the Solterra is just a BZ4X with better looks. Oh, wow. That rear dummy, not so good. All right, so let's see. They should have, I don't care if they're small SUVs. I care about the Solterra and the BZ. Small overlap. All right. I mean, it did its job. Self-sacrifice. That driver's door is going to be fun to try and open up. It's not just pinched in the rear. It's smushed at the front. but it pushed all the energy away from the passenger compartment. I don't know about the driver's foot. All right, he went in between the bags there, but he didn't go through. I imagine he would have done okay if they left the headrest in there. Hmm. Got a G. All right, so moving on. So this one I got out of order because I got excited when I saw the Magic Dock in my thread. Tesla prepares more superchargers for Magic Dock installation. So we're looking at here. Oh, it's the side of the car with the window open and the Magic Dock. It's like because the way that it was looking for a second looked like dual cables. So I guess this is the supercharger guy. And so let's see. They've got them all over New York, all over California, and is that you? Oh, okay. I was knocking at the door. I'm like, who knows where you're? Yeah, there they are working on them. Just taking the covers off. Okay. There's their car for sure. Or at least two of them. How's Tesla determining which superchargers will have the Magic Dock? They haven't told us. Run offers 12, V3. Meanwhile, Scotts Valley offers 16. Both locations are situated within points of interest. Verona is next to the Turning Stone Resort Casino, while Scotts Valley Supercharger is near a shopping center. And then the first one we saw in Buffalo, or near Buffalo, was near a casino as well. Seems Tesla could be pushing its Magic Docks towards more populous locations where people could shop and charge simultaneously. And why not? You want them to actually get used after you put them together, right? That's what you call a vision. Tesla and Elon saw the charging market has the same potential similar to EV market. I think not. I mean, when you look at, they've got California going all over California, and they're going all over New York. And then that whole Northeast corridor, there's just tons of trips that go through there. So why wouldn't they be next? The question is, will they be done by the time that Tesla starts turning on the app? In fact, let's go to the app. We're going to do two things. We're going to see if they're ready to do my CCS adapter, and we're going to see if I am able to use the non-Tesla supercharger lookup. I know that somebody else was able to find it earlier, and they found Hawthorne, but that was quickly adjusted. All right, so I'm going to. It says that my car is playing Spotify. Oh wait, now it doesn't. It says it's parked. You know what? The car could be playing Spotify if people are walking around it and Summon is doing its thing. Or not Summon, Sentry Mode is doing its thing. So we'll go to Service, and then we'll go CCS for retrofit. CCS retrofit is coming in early 2023. So then we're going to swipe over. Oh, I can't swipe at all anymore. No power walls, no other cars. Let's click on my name. That's the shop, order now. So here's one that says charge your non-Tesla vehicle. We're going to click on that. Right. The map shows where I am. Nearby chargers open to non-Tesla. No chargers within range. What if I just zoom out? Do they show up on the map? Oh, they do. They do show up on the map. However, when I look at what they are and how close they are destination chargers. 8 kilowatts max, 10 out of 12 open, 5 out of 6 open. I like that it's got a little lock symbol on the private one. Lee's asking if that's in the app. Yeah, it's so for Teslas that's there under the charging tab, but for the non-Teslas you got to go into the app and click on your icon, which is either just a generic silhouette, or in my case I actually changed mine to my to the logo here, the Kacey logo, and All right, so far all I see are destination chargers. I don't see any high-speed chargers available. I'll zoom into New York and see if I see anything. Same thing, just destination chargers. Doesn't mean that the Magic Dock isn't open yet. It just means that they're not showing it to me. So yeah, so what I did was in the upper corner above my car, see my little logo there on the top right, next to the loot box. So next to the loot box, I click on my picture, and then from there, shows my car, get Tesla insurance, loot box, account, settings, add, remove. So scroll this to charge your non-Tesla. It'll change the map, show you where you are, and then you can pull up and see there are no current chargers within range. But what I did was I zoomed, and then in the zoom, I was able to see all those basically J1772 equipped Tesla destination chargers. Now, whenever they open up the superchargers, I'll then start to see the red dots for the supercharger. I wonder if I get close to the Magic Dock equipped superchargers, if that will just turn them available for me to see. But that would require a little bit of a trip. And right now I'm at 38% charge. So, I mean, we're in South Carolina now. I was gonna say I could take a little trip up to New York, no problem, but that would only be true when we were in Virginia. It's a little bit longer to take a trip to New York from here. Doesn't mean I won't do it. If I knew the Cybertruck was there, I definitely would have done it, but I didn't. All right, so moving on. So Zero, the electric motorcycle manufacturer. What'd you drop, baby? You dropped your lotion. Don't cry or spill milk, baby. Yeah, spilled milk. Yeah, it's something that can be replaced. That there's no point in crying over because we can get more. Yeah, you don't like that? Tickle your toes. Tickle your toes. Peekaboo. 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 Yay. Let me see your ass. This one? Your hands taste like chocolate. Oh, mommy's giving you two. You said no. David says cool. All right, so the Zero motorcycles is their SR-X concept, and so the semi-fared bike looks like straight out of a sci-fi movie. That is sharp, and this is this is what I've been waiting on. More of these bikes that don't look like gas bikes. I mean, I guess you could still make a gas bike that looks like that, but it would be harder to do. That's beautiful. All right, so let's see. The leader in space, new concept called SR-X. This takes the Street Fighter bike theme to a new level. Cleaned up with hue design on the SR/S using its frame and wheels. The concept gets the SR/S's powertrain, which includes an 82 kilowatt rear motor. Combo delivers 187 miles of range, 140 foot-pounds of torque, powered by a 17.3 kilowatt-hour battery. Not bad. I bet you this thing's full of music. Let's find out. There's no closed captioning, so it's just noise. That's beautiful. Did you say huge what? All right. Huge X Zero collab. 17.3 kilowatt hours. Wow. YouTube. Only thing I'm going to click space on is the play and stop button. Come on now. That's an interesting rear taillight. I guess half of it would go for turn signals, or they'd have them on stocks. Random door in the desert. All right. Let's see what the production model looks like. But that is tight. Eddie says, but that's the rationale. Electric bikes cost so much more than ice bikes. But that's the thing; they don't have to. Maybe this is the point where they finally change. Because right now, man, these electric motorcycles are expensive. I think part of it is because there were only like 3 manufacturers, but now there's so much more. Maybe they'll finally start to turn that corner. Batteries are expensive too. All right, so no comments, just because. All right, let's close that window and get you guys some fresh stories. Tesla upgrades leaked. Where did my cursor go? Come back to me. To the middle. I wish this thing wouldn't jump on me. Boring Company. Volkswagen. Talked about ultra hard steel already. We talked about Lightning and its production stoppage. Talk a little bit about Fisker and some partners. Talk about Hyundai again. Some NIO news. GM news. Florida being Florida as usual. Back to Ford. Talk about a Phoenix. A little Canadian news. We talked about the Mach-E already, about how they cutting off the orders for 2023. Talk about some Chinese space program. I mentioned we talked about the Model 3 coming up and its pricing, so we're going to do that. We talked about the IIHS. And then we're going to talk about Tesla officially or unofficially talking about those cameras. So let's move on to the next one. All right, so inside EVs, Tesla upgrades leaked, redesigns, and huge announcement from Musk. If the information shared online is true, it looks like the Tesla Investor Day on March 1st, Wednesday night, could be an historic moment. So before we dive into the detailed thread, we'll tell you up front, it mentions the Model 3 and Model Y redesigns, where the Model 3 is Project Highland, but not much has been shared about the redesigned Model Y. The thread also ends with a bang, suggesting that Tesla CEO Elon Musk will make a huge announcement on March 1st. So we'll pull that thread up in a minute. Talking about Tesla Scope. Oh yeah, Tesla Scope. I was confused that the color that rendered on my monitor looks like the kilowatts logo versus the Tesla Scope logo renders on my phone. And we'll just do it from here. It'll be less to dig into. All right, so Elon will make one of the most significant announcements in many years at Investor Day on March 1st. Whether attending in person or watching the stream online, you'll absolutely want to clear your schedule. So we'll be there, like I said. Join us at the Tesla Live Show on Wednesday. Right here. We know who Tesla Scope is. I use them just like I use Teslafy. Thread begins with 2 very long messages. Now that Twitter allows for many more characters, Tesla Scope typed what appear to be entire articles into the first 2 messages. We're going to drop them below so you can dive in. We're not going to rewrite them for you. Moreover, it's not until after the lengthier messages that you'll find some of the most compelling details with potentially new information. So they start with saying the best time to buy a Tesla is always. Always. That's what we keep saying. You know, buy the one you want. Buy it now. Because it will change. So apparently the embed isn't working for the long message the way they did it. Hardware 4 hardware 4 has already begun production, gratefully confirmed by Kilowatts. The goal is for all vehicle models to be delivered with this new hardware by the end of summer, including those made in China and Berlin. He talked about green the only, and now we got the preview of the hardware. We're going to kindly settle some concerns we confirm with employees on the line that these are for future expansion. As of this moment, no actively produced Model S, X, 3, or Y will include additional cameras. Tesla has begun to include the upgraded resolution of cameras silently starting in December of 2022. So those have been kind of mixed in. Some of them had it, some of them didn't. We've been told to inform customers not to expect additional cameras for at least a few months. There is no information regarding retrofits, although if and when this is possible, it will require that hardware 4 is already present in the vehicle. So, like I said during that segment, I wonder if the cabling is already there and they're just going to plug in. But on our existing cars, there's nowhere to plug in the camera, so it makes sense. There's no retrofit yet. However, as we talked about, those of us that purchase under, you have everything you need, or we'll make it there. We're gonna need some kind of solution, either upgrade us or allow us to transfer it, or you're gonna have to do some work to our cars. A lot of work, apparently. Cybertruck being made this year, and in production semis will be the first vehicles to have the additional cameras and hardware 4 from the start. Before then, S and X will be the first vehicles to include the new cameras, and this will gradually transition to include 3 and Y before the end of the year. So what we're seeing here is, as we already saw, the S and X will have the new cameras on them, but Cybertruck and semis so far look like they're going to be the ones with the additional cameras on them. So S and X will have 9, 8 exterior, 1 interior upgraded cameras. Semi and Cybertruck will have the up to 12. So I had to inform the community no decision changes have been made regarding hardware 3 to 4 retrofits. Answer internally at Tesla is still a no, and service bulletins for the retrofit are still non-existent. There's a small amount of hope, as there is occasional internal chatter regarding this, although nothing has been changed since Elon's last update during the shareholder meeting. Don't hold your breath, because Elon's position is that, we can make it work with what we have. We'll see. I'll jump in on that class action if they don't to make it right on their own. We'll see. So far, my car makes a lot of dumb decisions for stuff it can see, that I know it can see. So if he's right, then all they got to do is just make it not do dumb stuff. And if he's wrong, maybe it only needs the new cameras, like the new cars are coming out with, not the additional, but just the upgraded cameras. But to do the updated cameras, we'll also need an updated processor. So then they'll need to make like a hardware 3.5 or a hardware 4 that fits in a 3.0 container. Also can take 12 volts instead of 16 volts, because the lithium starter battery cars, they are the lithium low voltage battery cars, they run at a higher voltage, 16 volts instead of 12. Now for their confirmed erroneous post, so that's the Model X that we may or may not have shown on last week's call. A weird email. It's probably a scam, but it could be real. Via phone call, the delivery advisor apologized to the customer and explained that they misunderstood the information presented within the company, that hardware 4 now in production meant my customer's vehicle has this when inquired upon delivery day. So he said, hey, is this the new one? And they said, yeah, the new one's in production, but it didn't mean that his customer had it. It just meant that new ones have it. Let's see. Can you guys see the microphone? No. All right. Next up is the software suite that's been driving everyone, quite literally. The next version of full self-driving beta will be within the 2023.2 software branch and will include a collection of general bug fixes, thankfully resolving unexpected race conditions, such as resulting in a user preferences being wiped and reset Yeah, that's been one I've been having the most complaints about in my circles is somebody upgrades their car and then it wipes their car back to the factory. It thinks it's in Fremont, doesn't remember their seat position, it doesn't remember the mirrors, doesn't remember where home is. Blank slate. Some of them, after another reset, it re-downloads everything from the cloud and they're good to go. But not everyone. Some people had to re-input their stuff, and that's a pain. Everyone worldwide is expected to get this fixed via production branch next week. When did he write this? On 22nd. So next week still. Quite literally. It is. My highlights gone. And a lengthy discussion regarding the delays and release timeline of this update. V11 has taken as long as it has because Tesla wanted to ensure it was as safe as possible and to avoid regressions, as has been experienced in some 10.69 builds. What though? You sleepy? Yeah. You're making all your sleepy moves. Hmm. Yeah, she's right there. She's not even leave you. You want my hand there? Okay. Right, so I'm not taking it from you. I'll spin it around. There you go. So V11 is approaching the same internal development duration as Navigate on Autopilot, almost a year before reaching customers in 2018. While unexpected delays did occur, Tesla's intentional secrecy about internal testing was in good faith, we've been told. Okay. Last year, Tesla began increasingly monitoring Twitter for feedback complaints and fear, uncertainty, and doubt regarding the company and its vehicles. This brought a better understanding and awareness of complaints about full self-driving, beta regressions, and disappointments felt by some purchasers. Well, they didn't seem to act on them. To increase the likelihood of positive impressions, Tesla decided to hunker down and treat V11 more similarly to major autonomy features of the past. But the whole point of being in a beta was we wanted to try it out, see it, experience it as it goes. So locking it down set a bad expectation on its own. Don't pour soda on me. I'm wet. I got to change my shirt. Can't drink it from the bottom. There's only 2 drips in there anyway. And you got them on me. There's nothing to drink. Let's see. David says, yep, it would be a first. I would have to join a class action suit against Tesla, but for this issue, definitely. I mean, especially now, like if they just offered transfers and like a fair trade-in or something, I think that could be resolved. But if they continue their whole no transfers, and then if they say, oh, by the way, your legacy, we don't care, that would be one I would jump in on, because they promised me this thing would be a robotaxi and it'd make money and all that stuff. And yeah, some of it was Elon just gabbing away, but some of it was actually, really what the company's position was, not just where they can point and say, oh, that's stuff Elon said. Let's see. Let's go back to the thread. To this end, we've been reassured by Tesla that Tesla is aware of customer frustrations regarding missing autonomy features such as auto park for ultrasonic bus vehicles. So basically, if you don't have the sensors, you can't auto park today. These concerns are expressed and often are expressed often to the customer service centers around North America. While we weren't presented with a firm timeline, the employees all universally and separately confirmed this was a significant focus within the company with dedicated employees working on it. It's this good. So they know it's wrong and they know they're going to work on it. But apparently it didn't happen when they wanted it. I took your empty bottle. Here's your empty bottle. You don't want to sleep? Don't put that over my work computer. Just go like this. It looks and feels empty, but no one, children should get a couple drops on the keyboard or something. All right, so Tesla rekindled the conversation with regulators in the UK and EU over the last year regarding full self-driving deployment to customers. Their new goal is 2024 to meet proposal deadlines or meet proposal dates. The company can be granted an accelerated timeline based on performance in North America, United States, and Canada, along with other requests for safety and data validation. So they could beat it if they wanted to. As shared last year, Tesla's been testing FSD beta builds in the UK and various countries throughout the EU. This effort has only been increased recently with more job listings appearing in Berlin and New Zealand. And they believe that owners outside of North America may finally have a path ahead. And oh, Ben, you know what, David? They're even worse than we are because they paid the same $7,000, $15,000 equivalent as us. See, I told you she'd get another drip. Now there's one on my chest. They paid the same price that we paid, and theirs got worse over time because their regulators had them take away like how far the angle could steer and how smart someone worked, and so they would also have standing depending on how suing works in those countries. So they've been, our cars are 5 years old this year. They've been 5 years with nothing to show for it. I mean, at least we've had what we got, but they got nothing. Probably got a juice cup for you that might be better tasting. Can I get a juice cup, please? I'm not going to take it from you. Just gonna throw it on the floor. Orange juice and water. Tastes different, huh? Less sweet. Grandma said to dilute it, so we did. That's not a button, it's just a decoration. Yeah, you got 2 hands. Use them. All right, so as of last night, there are over a dozen new electronic parts catalog listings, although they've only been permitted to share the following. This part number J, windshield glass assembly, left-hand drive, infrared acoustic, note temperature and humidity sensor. That is what I was talking about earlier with the little circle. That's the temperature and humidity sensor. A redesign for Model 3 and Y is underway. Model 3 and Y will receive a handful of exterior and interior changes, including new mirrors, tri-band GPS, allowing Tesla to eliminate the need for various sensors, including external temperature. I still don't see how that works. Many other refinements are underway, although they can't speak to this right now. And then, as we saw earlier, ended the thread with a bang. Moving on. The Boring Company may be adding a University of Nevada, Las Vegas to the Vegas Loop. That would be pretty cool. UNLV may be on the cusp of selling 1.3 acres of land to the Boring Company, which will allow them to build a new stop for the Vegas Loop. The university is seeking approval to build the 1.3 acre seeking approval to sell the 1.3 acres from the Nevada System of Higher Education Board of Regents. And if allowed, they'll allow the Boring Company to build a station for the Vegas Loop. According to a report by the Las Vegas Sun, the station will serve as a main connector to the Allegiant Stadium and Las Vegas Convention Center if approved. Well, that's really cool. That's really cool. Currently, the 1.3 acre plot of land is used as a parking lot for the stadium, and you wouldn't need less parking if people could get there in public transport or something that behaves like public transport. Yeah, tip it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to hold it for you. You got to tip it. She said, watch me. You're going to hold it. I'm going to put it down. You're going to pick it up. What? Oh. Where are we going? All right, so let's move on to the next story. You want that? Here. Orange juice. All right, so I talked about Volkswagen, but not exactly the way you might have predicted. Volkswagen is going to bring back the Scout brand, and it's going to be an EV. It's going to be made in America in a new EV plant. And I don't know where this concept picture comes from. Scout dates back to the 1960s when International Harvester Corporation. You know, it took me till sometime late last year to realize that that's what international on international trucks and such meant was the international was International Harvester Corporation. I'd heard of International Harvester before. No, yeah, look at my chest. She's looking at my shirt. Want this? No. Yes. I'll put this here. Volkswagen acquired the Scout brand after its trucking unit, the Traton Group, merged with Navistar. And then there were rumors, and then now VW is confirming it, perhaps. Initially, it suggested that Volkswagen was in talks with Foxconn and Magna to manufacture the vehicles, but a new report from this German newspaper or organization says that VW would build its own EV plant in the US to produce the Scout models and possibly Audi EVs as well. Interesting. So we'll know more and we'll say more when it actually happens. The only reason I brought that one up is the only one that said will rather than may. Led me to believe that there was some sort of movement on it all. And that report from those people might be it. So Fisker has announced they're going to partner with ChargePoint for their North American charging. And for those of you that are familiar with ChargePoint, you know them from the free and paid level 2 chargers with the lock all over the country. But they also make DC fast chargers, or not make them, but have them. Thank you. You know what she throws in hard floor still, so we got to clean that up now. No, she just threw it. We got to clean the floor. Yeah, throw it again. She'll pick you up after she cleans up your mess. Okay, so the whole point, the reason I bring this up is everybody's always complaining about how Tesla does do their own charging, and everybody else says, "Oh, we're not in the market of making gas stations, so why should we make charging networks?" Well, because you should make sure that people can actually use your car around the country. Why not? And it looks like Fisker understands that. Mama, Mama, you want Mom? She's over there. Let's go. Yeah, see, there you go. Bye. Bye bye. All right, I need cloth, please. Those orange juice and water. That top. So they're not making their own network, and is it just a brand deal? Do they give them some money to make more chargers? Let's see. The partnership will give Fisker owners access to more than 210,000 active EV chargers and over 400,000 roaming partners in North America. The minute they get their new Fisker Ocean, our owners want convenient and easy to locate public charging stations, a quick and easy experience when using a public charger, and a simple super simple payment options. Together with ChargePoint, we are providing a world-class public charging option for Fisker owners at delivery. So this just sounds like top-tier gas. Basically, your engine came with these brands give you good gas, and ChargePoint's going to give you the experience that you want. It doesn't look like they're actually making new stations based on this at all. But hey, it's a step better than everybody else that's not a Tesla and Rivian, because Rivian also has their own network they're building out. All right, so the Hyundai Motor almost doubled plug-in car sales in January of 2023. All electric sales increased by nearly 162% year over year. Good gracious. So let's see. They went for plug-in electric cars, combined wholesale shipments amounted to 20,718, 87% year over year. We estimate that's nearly 7% of their total volume. That's retail sales in South Korea plus wholesale sales outside of South Korea, unaudited on a preliminary basis. Wholesale shipments by volume of powertrain type BEVs were 18,106, up 162. Plugins were 2612, down 37. Total plugins were up 20,718, which is 80% or 87% up. And fuel cells were 404, 10% more. Man. We talked about a fuel cell train on what drives us. That might work, especially considering that they're doing green water cracking. So, all right, good to see you, David. We'll catch you on Investor Day. And let's see, where are we on? Basically, Hyundai sales are up. Done with that. On to the next one. So, Neo drivers have completed 10,000 battery swaps in Europe. Not bad. It's a good milestone considering that Better Place went out of business and Tesla gave up on it. Good on them. GM's Cruise marks 1 million driverless miles. Amazingly. Didn't take them that long, but they've had their teething pains, and we'll see how they do from here. Tesla direct sales are under threat from dealer-backed bills in Florida. Let's read a little bit about this. Tesla has become familiar with laws surrounding dealerships and auto sales. Yes. Currently, there are no restrictions on direct-to-consumer sales in Florida, according to the National Conference of State Legislators. Florida Statute 320.645, manufacturers may engage in direct sales of motor vehicles, provided there are no franchise dealerships selling vehicles within the state. However, this could change. Buggers. Seeking Rents, Florida Bill 637, sponsored by Representative Jason Schulf, and Florida Senate Bill 712, sponsored by Brian Avella, are set to prohibit automakers from selling vehicles direct to consumers. Why now? Preventing automakers from reserving vehicles for customers and restricting automakers from incentivizing or forcing dealers to sell certain types of vehicles, including EVs. So this is anti-Ford as much as it is anti-Tesla. Automakers will not be able to incentivize forcing dealers to sell certain types of vehicles, including EV. But if they just stop selling fossils, and automakers are always giving, like, when I've sold cars, they were always like, hey, sell more Honda Fits, we'll give you this. All right, hey, we need more Honda Civic hybrids, we'll give you that. Hey, we need some Honda Ridgelines, do that. Or, hey, we need the Chevy Silverado. Okay, so they didn't do very many other trucks, but hey, if you sell a Volt, we'll help you out with a Volt. Or how about this Chevy Cruze, the little car nobody wants? Here you go. I'm not saying nobody wanted the car, but like, If that's something they want to do to push a model, they would do it. And apparently that would be not leaving. And let's see. Neither bill has made its way to voting, and both have received substantial amounts of editing thus far. But as it stands, the current abstracts of the bills are listed below. The House bill prohibits manufacturer, distributor, or importer from certain actions in allocation or distribution to franchise motor vehicle dealers. So remember when a couple of the automakers said that, hey, if you don't sell our EVs, you won't sell any of our cars. That would not be allowed. Authorizes sale or activation of accessories, features through remote electronic transmission. So they don't want software downloadable features. If the seat heaters are in my car and I want to turn them on, what does the dealer have to do with that? They don't need to cut to that, especially if I'm going to do it every month, like I do with the BMW, or like I could do with BMW. I'm not BMW. Revises provisions prohibiting manufacturer, distributor, or importer from owning, operating, or controlling a motor vehicle dealership. So that'd be Tesla. Authorizes application for injunction. So it lets the dealers sue them. So Tesla's going to get sued as soon as this kind of thing comes through. But not just sued, but also stopped, because it authorizes them to get an injunction. Authorize a motor vehicle dealer association to seek declaration and adjudication for rights with respect to certain violations. Small government, right? All right, the Senate bill. Prohibiting applications and licensees from reserving certain motor vehicle for specifically named persons. So that's right now Ford system. You order your car and then they send it through to a dealership. You pick it up. Nobody else can buy it except you for a period. And I think GM does this too, like with the Hummer. Prohibiting applications and licensees from requiring or incentivizing motor vehicle dealers to sell or lease particular motor vehicles. So again, same, can't incentivize them to sell certain things. But it seems this one's not just against anti-EVs. Like literally, they wouldn't be able to push, hey, we want you to sell blue cars this week because we've made too many blue ones. Wait. Specifically named person. We read that already. At specified specific profits or profits. So basically, they want to be able to set their own prices. You show up to pick up your Bolt for $20,000, and then you get there and they tell you it's $28,000 or get to step in, and that's going to be legal. Whereas right now, it's not allowed. Like the dealer is not allowed to do that with them. Now they will be able to do that, and there'll be nothing Chevy can do to stop them. Prohibiting applicants and licensees from engaging in certain activities of motor vehicles, motor vehicle dealers, authorizing specific entities without independent franchise dealers in the state to own, operate, or control a motor vehicle dealership in the state, etc. So no manufacturers selling cars. According to the lobbyists listed in association with the bill, both bills have received a sizable backing from dealers and dealer groups, of course, including Auto Nation, the Florida Association of Automotive Dealers, South Florida Association of Automotive Dealers. Neither state representative was available immediately for comment. It's essential to recognize that Tesla would not be the only automaker affected by these bills. Yeah, so Ford and GM for sure. As seen in the second section of SB 712, the bill would prohibit applicants and licensees from acquiring or incentivizing sales of electric vehicles, which is precisely what brands like Ford, Hyundai, and GM have been doing nationally. Furthermore, the bill would prohibit automakers from intervening in the pricing of their vehicles, allowing dealers to dramatically mark up vehicles, a problem that has plagued numerous legacy automakers. Yes. Considering how early in the life cycle of both these bills are, there's a good chance they could look very different by the time they reach voting. Yes. However, with both of these bills up for voting in the coming weeks or months, there's no doubt that Tesla may face new legal pressure in the state of Florida if it hopes to continue to sell directly to consumers. These people, man, they just don't give up in their BS. That time, she didn't like a pass. Us decided to weaponize Tesla against democracy during all the time. Nope. They've been on this kick since before that. Oh, you're right. Just like they did in Southwest. First Nations will thank you for their tax-free purchase. I don't think it's just pandering. These dealers, they have money to give. You may help Tesla by dredging up the same arguments only to find the silliness from dealerships once again. Meanwhile, another million people will learn about EVs than Tesla, just like Super Bowl commercials. America land of the free until not mess with local interests or powerful lobbies, etc. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Ford again. Oops, I didn't want to close that. I wanted to save that. Ford tests heated interior panels that could lead to more range in EVs. So this is like heated steering wheels, heated door panels, just basically the same stuff we've been doing in EVs, just to not run the main heater all this time. They'll reduce your range loss. Ford says there may be a better way to heat the interior using good old air conditioning, than using the good old air conditioning system, which could lead to an increase of range, temperatures as low as -7°C or 19.4 Fahrenheit. So heated armrests, heated seats. We all know the doors and windows are opened when it's colder outside. The temperature inside a vehicle drops, especially true for delivery vans as drivers make frequent drop-offs and the heat generated via aircon is lost more quickly, while heated surfaces stay warm. And it's the same thing we saw with the Amazon van when Rivian started delivering that. You can heat cooled seat, and it's very efficient. That's pretty cool. All right, so I mentioned the Phoenix, Arcimoto. They are going to continue delivering their FUV and Deliberator in March. Somehow, how did they get the money? Factory was shut down in January after announcing a regulatory filing that was teetering on the brink of bankruptcy. And press release on Tuesday saw that the FUV and three-wheel Deliberator will be resuming next month. They make no mention of the factory shutdown and provides no update on the company's financial standing. So this might not be long. This might be like a second wind. Last month's regulatory filing said that the 12 million additional shares, or that it was selling $12 million in additional shares at $3 each, adding it would need substantial additional funding, which may not be available on acceptable terms. That's not good. Hey, baby. All right, so if you have an Arcimoto on order, good luck. Hopefully they get it to you before anything else can happen to them. And, we wish the company well because, more electric cars, right? Motorcycles in this case. So Measurement Canada approves kilowatt-hour billing for Tesla Supercharger Network and other DC fast charging providers. So now they don't have to charge you by time and capability. They can charge you by capability and how much you actually took down, or just how much you took down. Capability would be nice. That way, you don't have a 50 kilowatt vehicle at a 350 kilowatt spot. China plans to put 13,000 satellites in orbit to suppress SpaceX's Starlink. This is one I haven't read, so let's go through this together. Maybe facing competition backed by powerful government. According to researchers, China aims to operate a massive network of internet service providing satellites to stifle Elon Musk's Starlink, which doesn't currently serve in China. They do pass over China, but they don't serve China. The project's codenamed GW, and this tallies the reports last year that China may be developing anti-satellite weapons targeting the satellite network. That's not good. That because right now, as it stands, targeting American satellites, government or commercial, is an act of war. We don't really need a war with China. But China plans to start contain 12 992 satellites to be owned and operated by a new entity named China Satellite Network Group, which plans to start offering launching satellites. When China plans to start launching satellites is not known yet, but it wants to have not less than 12,000 in orbit by 2027. Wow. China intends to set this constellation before SpaceX completes their own Starlink deployment. Really? How are you going to do that? They're launching another one on tonight, actually, as well as Crew Dragon. China can also equip its satellites with an anti-Starlink payload, which may conduct close-range and long-term surveillance. That's not good. However, according to Zeus, Starlink satellites had similar capabilities that allow them to receive data from the U.S. Department of Defense and have sensors that can monitor their environment. Taiwan has also been inspired to set up its own Starlink network to protect itself from attack. Yeah, you'd want to do that if your aggressor is doing that. Musk revealed in October that China asked him not to expand Starlink into its territories. They're low Earth orbit. They're going to pass over your place. He already doesn't offer service. What more do you want? Starlink has 3,000 satellites in orbit, but SpaceX aims for more than 40,000 to make the service available worldwide. Picture millions of Chinese with the little Roadrunner Coyote umbrellas getting flattened by many satellites. Elon partners with U.S. military industrial complex. What options does China have? They're just customers. They've stolen everything since gunpowder. I suspect they have similar types to Elon's. Have they stolen gunpowder? I thought we got it from them. Infrastructure bill feeling rather than important in that case. Maybe. If West thinks China has some failed democracy, it's not. Yeah, no, they're communist. They say so. Or they're some version of communism. They're not pure communism, clearly. No different than any autocratic nation like North Korea or Russia. Okay, I'll give you that. They'll work against free speech, free thought, and more. All right, moving on. So we talked about the Model 3 pricing. I mentioned it. Now at $42,990 before incentives, the new average car transaction comes in at nearly $50,000. So the Tesla Model 3 is more than $5,000 cheaper than the average selling price of a new car. So everybody says, "Oh, I can't afford a Tesla," and then they get something more expensive than Tesla. Yep. Next. Tesla to phase in additional cameras through the year with Model S and Model X. We talked about that as we read Tesla Scoop's thread. Lordstown. We talked about the Model Y safety. Talk about Porsche and backwards thinking, or yeah, backwards thinking. Volkswagen again, and Tesla crashes. Let's start with a crash so we're not ending on a bad note. NHTSA requests info from Tesla after a fatal crash in California. This happened either the same day or just after the last show. A Model S ran into, I think it was Model S. A Tesla ran into a fire truck, allegedly on autopilot. Yep. The morning hours of February 18th on Interstate 680 on the Intracosta County. I did reference this, but I didn't actually bring up the article. According to the county's fire department, the truck was hit when it was being used to block a lane. And this is what James kept telling us about the blocking and how if these cars were smarter, they could they could use the Cybertruck as a blocker, and with its capabilities, they could alert other cars and drivers better. So the fire truck did its job and it absorbed the hit from traffic, trying to protect the scene. And the fire department said the truck had its lights activated at the time of the collision. Unfortunately, the driver was pronounced dead at the scene, while the passenger and 4 firefighters were taken to the hospital for injuries. A photo shared by the fire department on Twitter shows the Tesla involved in the accident was an older Model S. And so this is the one where I was pointing out that it may not have even had AP1, but if it did have AP1, that is a known thing with AP1 is that if there's a vehicle that's partially in a lane, it might run into it. So as the driver, you should be taking over. If you see the flashing lights from the fire truck, you should be taking over and bringing it to a stop, or taking over and getting into the next lane. This driver lost her life, as did whatever other casualties were already being responded to. You still sleepy even after your bath? So much come over here. Come here. The word is no. The word is no, you don't want it. No, thank you. How about? All right, so an HTSA, you've not. You want mama? NHTSA did not confirm what information it requested from Tesla, but it has to do with the agency's ongoing investigation into Tesla and the role its autopilot system has played in this. Right. Into several crashes involving parked emergency vehicles. We'll see what becomes of that, but as we've seen in HTSA and TSB, they are pretty understanding of what the system is capable of and how people are supposed to use it, and when people are lying to them about what it did and didn't do. Okay, so we close this window. Now, this one. Lordstown halts production and deliveries of the Endurance, issues recall to fix performance and quality issues. So they made it into production and they're doing a stop sale, stop build, and a recall. And let's see what they're addressing. Quality issues, in quotes. Several components of the Endurance have experienced performance and quality issues. The exact issues were not identified. The company said that they were working with their suppliers to identify the root causes and come up with fixes. According to Lordstown, those fixes could include part design modifications, retrofits, and software updates. All right, then. The reason for the recall is to address the specific electrical connection issue that could result in a loss of propulsion while driving. That's pretty important. We talked about that last week with Volkswagen. Or the week before. No timeline for when details are coming. Earnings call is scheduled at 8:30 on March 6th. Hopefully they get them back before earnings call, because that's going to be a fun call if you don't say, hey, we fixed it and this is what's up. And their stock took a hit. All right, so we talked about the IHS top safety pick. We saw the video. And we didn't watch the IHS explanation, but we read about it. Porsche says one-pedal driving is inefficient and results in twice the losses. If you drive like your pedals are light switches, if you use a gradient and you have a dead zone where the car can coast, not so much. Porsche does have some really strong regen. I think they said like 80 to 90% efficient, which isn't bad, but and so instead, the German automaker decided to go with a driving feature from internal combustion engines, which feels more natural. So instead of using one pedal driving, Porsche wants you to use the brake pedal. And when you use the brake pedal, you know you're stopping, and so it'll blend in regen. Tesla never did really well with the regen blending, but Toyota, General Motors, and several others like the pedal regen blending. But General Motors gave in to customer demands, and you now get to pick if you want to step the big pedal or if you want to use a hand toggle to do regen. They also had on my volts, you could shift into B mode and then just do more regen and do that off the pedal. And so this is their blending. Whatever, Porsche. Whatever, Porsche. Some people can adapt, even if you don't think your customers can. And yes, some people drive like light switches. Now, the Volkswagen Tiguan is going electric in 2026. Electrify all the things. It's interesting that this is a year after the Norway requirement for all electric. But it's probably in line with when this car was already going to get redesigned anyway. So that might be why it's so slow. So that's what we know. And with that, I want to thank Zachary for your donation. I want to thank all of you for your time and coming to see us every week and chatting with you all. That's awesome. And I want to thank our channel members and patrons as well for their monthly contributions. And we'll catch you on the flip side.